Is BMC as corrupt as we think it is?
Bribe gate charge on Mumbai official. A big crackdown on the corruption.
Not just gone out of control, I think it's gone beyond the speed of light right now.
Why are Mumbai's roads so bad?
As a politician, I could have told you right now, मेरे हाथ में सरकार दे दो, मैं 2 दिन में सब या 2 सालों में सब ठीक कर देता हूँ, but that's a lie.
Do you think Mumbai should replicate that model of governance where there's a mayor elected by the people who controls everything?
Ideally, I would love the mayor to have more administrative powers, more executive powers to also shift bureaucrats once they have been assigned to the municipal corporation.
You've been waging a war against Adani for the last year and a half. Is your problem Adani or is your problem Dharavi Redevelopment?
Our objection is to any developer, any industrialist, any person who's coming to our city and looting the city like this.
Who would be like the top 3 entrepreneurs of India?
Politicians today fighting elections also entrepreneurs.
Are you willing to commit that you will smash the auto rickshaw mafia?
Legally shouldn't exist. They have no place in us. You have to smash.
One thing in 2014 that really attracted the middle class of India and even Mumbai.
अच्छे दिन.
But more importantly than that, na khaunga, na khane dunga.
सब खाने वाले अभी बीजेपी में.
Is Aditya Thackeray brave enough to make that same statement?
Today, which I see is most embarrassing, right, is this whole holding in banners culture which has popped up across our country and across the city.
Why do Maharashtra politicians not like Pune?
Pune faces is again the haphazard planning of the metro lines. They've started flooding the city left, right, centre within 15 minutes of the first rains to the Riverfront Development Project. It's probably the only project in the world where the river is being narrowed and shallowed.
Out of every 100 rupees that is spent on roads, how much is actually spent on roads?
In today's episode of The Real Deal, I'll be speaking to a member of Mumbai's most famous political family. I'll be talking to Aditya Thackeray of Shiv Sena. I'll talk to him on what ails Mumbai's governance, how big is the corruption crisis in the city, why is he so opposed to the Dharavi Redevelopment by Adani, did he go wrong in the battle for the Mumbai Metro, and lots more. Let's hear him out.
So thank you, Aditya, for coming on. You're the first politician that's come on the podcast. Otherwise, it's focused for developers and bureaucrats. But politicians probably play the biggest role when it comes to cities. You're 35 years old, but you've been in politics for about 15 years, right? Has politics turned out to be tougher or easier than you expected?
So firstly, let me tell you, Vishal, that basically I know the space that you operated in terms of, the interviews and the podcasts, and generally, it's like you said, bureaucrats, you have also developers. But one of the reasons why we met also before and I was like, wanting to be out here is because you are very, very also Mumbai heavy and city heavy, right? And that's one of the topics that is not really discussed in the circles of politics as much as it's supposed to be discussed. Because like you said, has politics got tougher or has politics got weaker? Has it got, has it changed its form? I think it'll always keep changing its form. Because if you see decade-wise, there's a decade of globalization and being open and liberal. There was always, and now we've come into a circle of looking inwards, looking to be very nationalistic and patriotic and sort of closing our borders, as most countries around the world are talking about. But there's always been one theme that's been spoken about, discussed in everyone's lives, but not really acted upon. It's cities. There was also a time in India where speaking about urbanization was with a sense of fear. There was a time where politicians and policymakers feared urbanization. I think we've come to a zone where it is now the talk of town, but it's not really being implemented. And probably then making it simpler, right? Policy making, urbanization can be a talk in political circles, and we talk at conferences when we speak about zones and zoning and development plans and FSI and TDR and all of that. But the simplest thing we talk about cities every day is, मेरे घर के सामने का कचरा उठाया नहीं है, जिस राह से मैं आता हूँ वहाँ गड्ढे हैं, फुटपाथ ठीक नहीं है. And this is also speaking about urbanization. So I think that's very, very important, and this is why I come on the show also as a Mumbaikar and as someone who thinks about cities and want to do my little bit for the cities. But speaking about politics, I think it's only getting interesting. It's always in a cycle and it's always interesting.
What's been the one thing about politics that shocked you when you entered the field when you were 20 years old, right?
Yes.
What's been the one thing that shocked you at the start?
I think, for me, I've always grown up in this house and growing around my grandfather or growing up around my father and seeing the kind of people they met, the kind of people they helped, the kind of, touring they had, the experiences. I've always thought that this is one field that is the most impactful, and especially in a country like India, one decision can impact 1 billion plus lives, right? But the most shocking part of politics is politics. Because that word is so synonymous with things like, "Arey, office mein bahut politics chalta hai." And once you get into it, once you jump into it, I may call it interesting as of now, but obviously sometimes you see the morality of a bunch of people in politics. You see what they can do to get to power. You can see what they can do to push you out of power. All of this really is shocking at one level, and you can pretend to have a thick skin, but it does sort of start piercing somewhere. So I think...
Was your expectation of the morality levels in politics when you joined very high? Were you one of those idealistic guys, or were you one of those guys, my family's been in politics, we know the things that go to make the engine work?
See, you've always got to be idealistic. I'm one of those people who's always going to be an optimist, and one of those people who always think that, okay, I have done no wrong. I come with a genuine heart, and keep fighting to get things done. So that is one. And I also grew up in a time where watching the likes of someone like Sushma Swaraj ji and Advani ji debate things out with someone like Pranab Mukherjee ji and Chidambaram ji and, all of these people, Yechuri ji, all of these people at the national level, you could see debates happening at a national level, which is missed today.
Yeah, but I think those times, just when I look at, you and me are of similar age, though I think I'm a bit older than you. Those debates, when they're in form, they were quite a revelation for most people.
Yes, and you could speak about each other, you could say things at each other, and it was never taken to be personal. It was never taken to be something that, okay, I'm going to come back at you with a vindictive nature, which is not the case today.
Okay, now let's come to Mumbai. Your city, my city. If you were to summarize Mumbai today, what do you think is the biggest problem in Mumbai?
More than in Mumbai, I can tell you the biggest problem of Mumbai, right? The problem of Mumbai is in the decision-making scheme of things, or the sphere of decision-making in terms of governance for Mumbai and administration for Mumbai. For the first time in so many years and decades of Mumbai's administration, we have no one running the municipal corporation, or the BMC as it is popularly known as, elected from the people. It is bureaucrats appointed by the state government who are running the BMC at the whim and fancy of the state government. And sadly enough, in the state government, be it the CM, be it the two DCMs, I can understand you're not from Mumbai, that's fine. But none of these people in the ministry or the government today have any love for Mumbai.
Why do you say that?
Look at the decisions of the past 2.5, 3 years. It takes you a special talent to drain Mumbai of the funds from 92,000 crore surplus to take it to a 2.5 lakh crore deficit in 2.5 years, and that too without working or reflecting or shown.
The kind of scams we've seen, the kind of scams we've pointed out, the kind of scams have had media conferences in this very place and exposed. It takes a special talent, which is rare across the country, now probably all collectively put together in the ruling party, to drain any city or state of its funds, hard-earned taxpayers' money, into their own coffers. And that's the problem. See, today, you point out things in Mumbai, right? Speak about pollution. There have been times in 22, 23, November, December, and obviously every city has its time of pollution peaks and pollution going down. Tweet about it. Who is responding to you? Tweet about a broken footpath. Speak about something like the Gokhale Bridge. What was the penalty put on the contractor of the Gokhale Bridge? 5,000 rupees. For what? For using 90 crores of the BMC's money. That is you and my money, our money, taxpayers' money, and misaligning it by what, 6 feet? How can two bridges be misaligned by 6 feet? That guy should have gone to the gallows. The contractor should have gone to the gallows. He's being charged 5,000 rupees as penalty.
For telling me, why does this happen?
It's simple, because this has political patronage.
But that's been there for the longest time, right?
I'll tell you what, see, the thing is this, that somewhere you start feeling that there is a plan in the making to make Mumbai weaker. You look at the things we've lost from Mumbai in the past 10 years. The gift city, the International Financial Services Center, given to us by the UPA to BKC, shifted from here to Gujarat. Fine, Gujarat can have its own gift city. Why take away our gift city? Why should you not give a gift city to UP? Why should you not give a gift city to Assam? Why should you not give a gift city to something like Madhya Pradesh or Karnataka, along with Mumbai? Let all these states have their own International Financial Services Center. But that has gone away. And You and I both know that had this International Financial Services Center come up in BKC, the kind of boom not just Mumbai but the country would have seen would have been phenomenal, right? Look at the way the simplest method I can tell you is what is the means that the hard-working Mumbaiker takes today to go to office? The BST bus? What is happening with the BST bus? The fares have been doubled, the buses have been reduced, the bus stops have been sort of created into billboards, and still the BST is not being helped by the state government. Why is the city collapsing? The answer is either there's a plan to collapse a city, or two, nobody really cares in the government today.
Okay. On both the points, Gift City as well as BST, I'll come to that. But before we come to that, most people, just when they hear you and you actually seem like a very likable person, they'll point out and say that, Aditya is saying all these things. He's saying it with a lot of conviction and authority. Would you say that as a person whose party has in a way controlled Mumbai's governance for almost 30 years, would you say your record has been average, poor in doing it? Or would you concede that things have not gone according to plan even under your control?
Rather than me judging myself, because I may have a bias of comparing myself to the BJP administration, and I'll judge myself as much better than what the BJP is running the country as also today, in terms of not just me, but my party running Mumbai Municipal Corporation. But let me not get into it because I'd love this to be, rolling as trolls. But most importantly, let me tell you a timeline from 1997 to 2022 that we were sort of in the BMC government and running the BMC for the first 20 years with the BJP and then later on independently also. In 1997, when we first got to the BMC as the ruling party, the BMC was in a deficit of 600 crores. Thanks to the political party apparatus that we have in terms of the mayor, the corporators and the people from Mumbai who got elected from our party for the love of Mumbai, and along with some great officers that came along, to name some would be Mr. Subodh Kumar, Mr. Ajay Mehta, Mr. Sitam Kunte, all of these people. Of course, you cannot work without the bureaucracy. From 600 crores deficit in 1997, we brought the BMC's budget, the fixed deposit of BMC, to a surplus of 92,000 crores from 97 to 2022. Now, if you examine the BMC's budget every single year, the BMC's budget has every penny reflected in the budget, even from the fixed deposit. So, for example, when the Honorable Prime Minister came right after our government was toppled and said, STP ka gift main aapko Mumbai ko de raha hu, it wasn't his gift. It is Mumbai's money. It was tendered during our time. It was initiated during our time. He only came and cut the ribbon because it happened to be so that the BMC's term was over and they had toppled a government and he was invited for it. But 18,000 crores came from Mumbai's saved money from the fixed deposit we had kept aside for this project. For something like the Goregaon Mulund Link Road. Again, a project I had inaugurated, then the Prime Minister came and inaugurated twice again. The minute our government toppled, the BJP government here and Eknath Binde's government escalated the cost, changed the contractor and started sucking money out of it. But Goregaon Mulund Link Road, again, money saved from the 92,000 crore surplus. Coastal Road, right? Same. And in these 25 years, what has Mumbai achieved or what has Mumbai's BMC given back to Mumbai? The BEST, even today I can claim, now not because of the doubled fares, but when we were in government, we had the BST running efficiently, good routes. The number of people, when we did flat fares, 5 rupees, 5 kilometers, 10 for 10, 15 for 15, we had almost 32 to 35 lakh people going on the BST every single day, going to their offices and going back home. In terms of, this is of course public transport, right? You look at Mumbai schools, 1,234 schools, 8 mediums of learning. You have English, semi-English, Marathi, Hindi, Gujarati, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Urdu, all of these languages. You had virtual classrooms, you had tabs coming in, you had, for the first time, I think probably around the world you may have this, that we brought in IB, IGCSE, CBSE and IGCSE and ICSE free of cost along with SSE board. And whereas duty of the BMC is actually just primary schools, even in healthcare, the duty of the municipal corporation is primary healthcare. But we just not have primary healthcare, we have primary healthcare, we have hospitals, and Mumbai is probably the only municipal corporation that has 4 medical colleges of its own, with some of the best doctors in the world attached to it. You look at also the open spaces that are managed, or going further, look at Mumbai's achievement of the Middle Vaitana Dam.
The Indore Sonar Basa Talk Midwetara Dam was the 9th fastest dam in the world when we made it. When we started in 2007 and completed by 2014 or 15. So these are some of the things which, if you ask me to compare apple to apple, Municipal Corporation of Mumbai, the BMC that we were running for the last 25 years without hidden taxes, while we added to the kitty of this 92,000 crore surplus linked to every project, we did not raise taxes in Mumbai.
See, BMC's funds in a way got its boost after this fungible FSI also came into play, which builders have contributed. I don't have any particular love for them, but then give the devil their due.
Whoever contributes to the city's coffers, as long as you don't squeeze the common man, right?
Right.
The common citizen has a right to enjoy this.
But when you say all these things, why do you think that despite the entire list that you mentioned, that why do people say that BMC and corruption are almost synonymous?
Is BMC as corrupt as we think it is?
Let me be very honest with you. Across the world, corruption is one word that exists at every level of government, horizontally or vertically. I would be lying to you if I say it was the best administered thing, or I would be lying to you that there is zero corruption in this department or that department. You go anywhere. What has happened is what we were working on was the digital platforms where corruption would have come down to zero. The WhatsApp chatbot that you also are aware of, right? Where does corruption happen? Largely where you have a common person trying to go get his or her thing done and the weight is wanted on the file. But if you bring this on a digital platform like the chatbot we had started off, where you just say hi in whatever language you want to the BMC, and the BMC goes on an auto mode to say, okay, without a human interface, starts getting work done. Or even something like Twitter, where you tweet to the BMC, which I think I pushed for the BMC 2 in 2018, 2019. You say there's garbage outside on my road, there's pothole on my road, or the pipeline is broken. The BMC has to respond within 3 hours with a photo, whether it's attended to or not. So there will always be means towards moving towards a cleaner system, and that is what we were doing.
But would you say, looking at BMC's level of corruption, at least what we keep seeing in roads, footpaths, illegal hoppers, has that gone out of control?
It's not just gone out of control, I think it's gone beyond the speed of light right now. Because tell me, like I said, just this whole thing of it took us 25 years to build from 600 crores deficit to 92,000 crores surplus. It's taken them 2 years to say Mumbai के पास बहुत पैसा है, BMC के पास बहुत पैसा है, and take it from 92,000 crores surplus to 2.5 lakh crores of committed liability or deficit. And where is this money that is being spent is being reflected? A simple thing like a road scan, 680 crores last year, 6,000 crores this year. Both the scans I brought in front of the people. 5 big contractors, cartels made and given to them as packages at escalation costs, which were absurd. And 6,080 crores. 6,080 crores is a huge sum. Show me where the money has gone. Can you show me one footpath today from that package or those 5 packages, or one road that from that package that has been made proper? In fact, the roads that were made now, the BMC claims is 26% work complete. I say it's not even 5%, but whatever's been complete, I can show you cracks on it.
So tell me, Aditya, why are Mumbai's roads so bad?
It's not just the roads. When I speak about roads, I look at a road footpath to footpath, right? I look at the footpaths, I look at the medians, I look at the roads, I look at the pedestrian crossings. And when we speak of roads in an Indian context, along with the footpaths, you have to look at people walking on it, people crossing in the middle of the road whenever they want to, the kind of dividers we have, and the pedestrian refuge areas. You also have to account for hawkers, you also have to account for double parking, illegal parking, because it's very intrinsic, having said whatever we want to and, how much ever we want to in terms of implementation of rules. I think you have to calculate all of that. One of the things that's been lacking all throughout in the history of any city planning roads is planning it. Contours of it, how does the road happen, do all the utilities come under the median or where? That is one. 2, if you see the drains, most of them are zigzag because historically it's happened that way. When a new road is made, at least the ducting should be on one way. Mumbai's biggest issue has always been that you have 16 different town planning agencies running Mumbai. So for example, the Western Express Highway for the longest time was with the Government of India, leased out to MMRDA, PWD managing it, MSRDC managing it. I was telling you of this one authority. I don't know if you saw that, the board, the MRDD. Nobody knows if that authority exists or not, but you saw that one, right?
So Ravi, that body, you were in government, you saw it, but you don't know.
Nobody knows, right? And the mess up was the service roads of that Western Express Highway also belong to the PWD. The roads next to it belong to the BMC. So if you have to put a pipeline through it or the culvert through it, you have to ask all of these bodies. For Mumbai's municipal corporation, or BMC rather, the biggest issue is coordinating with all these 16 agencies. You have railways, so Western, Central and Harbour. You have BPT, you have MPPT, you've got MMRD, you've got something like PWD, MHADA, SRA. And you've got multiple more agencies who have different pockets of Mumbai. And all of these roads are also simultaneously managed by them. Even while making the road, right, we're probably the only city in India, because see, otherwise what happens is in most small cities across India, you have white topping surfaces that is just laying concrete on top and kaam ho jata hai. You can't do that in Mumbai because below the roads, you've got about 43 utilities, which is your cables, your TV cables, gas, phone cables, different types of utilities, some of them existing, some of them long gone, some of them autonomous, some of them Government of India. For them to reply back is another problem. And the third biggest thing is the traffic police, by its convenience, because of course Mumbai is a traffic heavy city, giving you permissions to work on those patches of roads. So that is one. Having said that,
Isn't the big issue just that Mumbai roads suck because of corruption?
I'll tell you what, Mumbai's roads problems will only get resolved. Because see, as a politician, I could have told you right now, mere haath mein sarkar de do, main 2 din mein sab, ya 2 saalon mein sab theek kar deta hu, but that's a lie. You have to keep pushing for better planning first. Two, the bigger fascination that this current establishment has of concrete is not going to work on all Mumbai roads. You need a mix of concrete roads, you need a mix of asphalt mastic roads. You need to plan this across Mumbai now. Now, thankfully, what's happened is a lot of roads have been handed over to the BMC, but the funds have been sucked out. The biggest challenge for us and the biggest task for us will be to manage the funds, link them up with better planning of roads. And this is what has happened historically. If you see across Mumbai, I can give you a list of BMC roads that were well done as against other roads that also come to a certain point, but the matching where it's supposed to happen is a mismatch. So I understand it has been a problem, but all I'm saying is you have to bring Mumbai's authority into one single body, which is the BMC.
Oh, on the structural part, we'll come to that. How much of the problem is corruption? Like all the points that you mentioned, utilities below, for a new bridge, it's new. They should not be an issue, right? How does this issue like, say, Palava happen?
Yeah.
But
this is corruption. I mean, inaugurated in 7 days. Bad roads, right? Palava. You have something like Gokhale Bridge, the biggest shining example of corruption. But tell me, what is the timeline of this? And a lot of people always ask me about saying, oh, but the BJP is saying this about you. I'm like, please tell them they were with me for 20 years. But two, the person who they are with for the last 2.5 years is responsible for sucking out my city's treasury.
So,
And I am here sitting in front of you, looking you in the eye and saying this. I challenge him to do that with you.
okay, fair enough.
with me.
Okay, regarding this road construction part, how much of the entire amount that is spent on roads, in your view, actually goes on the road?
I'll tell you what. So when I exposed the first road scam, it was 15th January 2023. I had a press conference in this room. And I said the BMC's tender for this package is faulty. I showed the exact figures, the 5 big contractors. I didn't name them because my fight is not with the contractors. Eventually, it's the contractors who will work. My fight is with this corrupt system, right? And I said, you've got 6,080 crores being spent on tenders that are supposed to be lesser in cost by at least 1,500 crores. You know what happened? The day I took that press conference, evening the BMC issued a press note saying, oh, the bids are absurd. We're not going by the bids and the variation costs. We're going by the cost set by us, which is 1,000 crores lesser. Now, if that was the case, when it came down to 5,000 crores, and if you've said you're not going by the variation costs and you're not going by the bid costs, how is it even a tender? How is it even legal?
So, fair point. So,
Same thing happened the next year. Now the point is, then they put out a list when I made allegations against them for corruption. And they said, no, we'll put CCTVs, we'll put a control room, we'll put a central monitoring room. None of that has happened. The point is this, that this is happening because you have a government in place. This is being run by the Chief Minister's Office and the UD Minister's Office, the BMC and all the other municipal corporations. If the BMC, politically elected BMC was in its place, you would have had all parties, because the BMC is one unique place where be it the standing committee, be it the improvement committee, be it the BST committee, the education committee, not just the ruling party, you also have the opposition party sitting on the same table while all these decisions are made. So you also have someone who could be the ombudsman for this, and the ombudsman could be the opposition or the government, both, but everyone's sitting together. And at least there's transparency, there's accountability, unlike what is happening now.
Fair point. I'm just trying to get to this. In your view, you have looked at the numbers deeper. You've been in the system. Out of every 100 rupees that is spent on roads, how much is actually spent on roads?
You will have to ask the current ministers who are.
But previous?
See, like I said, you see the difference between our work and their work. You will see genuinity, and two, you'll see the BMC being transparent and accountable everywhere. Everyone who made allegations, made political allegations, but could not really speak about anything because the work was happening on ground. For me, when I pointed out again another road scam from here, I don't know if you know about that road scam which the Supreme Court also caught, 3,000 crores, right? The Gaimukh Godbandar elevated road. For an elevated road and for a tunnel, the MMRD came out with a tender of 16,000 crores and gave 20 days to fill it just before elections. Now tell me something, 20 days is almost like a short tender notice. Who gives a short tender notice for an elevated road and a tunnel of 16,000 crores? And when I pointed it out, first the MMRD was defensive saying, no, we're right and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, I'm going to persist with this. I said this again. Then in court, one of the contractors went, and in court, the MMRD had to say, no, we're going back from 20 days to 60 days. 3 months later, the Supreme Court found that there was a financial anomaly of 3,000 crores, and the Supreme Court had to say, are you scrapping the tender or do we put you behind bars? Now, this is the kind of corruption we are seeing today, right? And this kind of corruption is something that is ruining every inch of life, not just roads for you and me.
Okay. So corruption at this point, I think most people will concede that there are issues on corruption at this point. But I think one of the challenges for most Mumbaikars is that they haven't experienced good roads, not just in the last 3-4 years, but the last 30-40 years. I think everybody in this room, they don't know what a good road feels like in Mumbai.
It's not like that. I'll tell you, for example, if you look at something like Marine Drive or whatever the roadworks we had visited and we have done completely, those roadworks that have happened, because you don't just start digging up a road and you do it again, right? Like, for example, there will be roads which have been dug up by the monorail which was with the MMRDA. There have been roads which were dug up by, like, for example, the Andheri Ghatkopar link road. How many years was that dug up by the MMRDA? And that is one of the pain points for us. The JVLR was dug up by MMRDA for the metro and for the flyover before that. So like I said, unless and until you have one agency which is elected by the people running Mumbai. See, I could have claimed today that, oh, the roads made by us are all good. But all I'm saying is the accountability comes when you have full responsibility. And for that, you need an elected body. You have publicly elected body with a mayor who is empowered, and you have one body which is the authority, where you may be MMRD, you may be MHADA, you may be PWD, whoever, you have to come to the BMC and say, can I please do this work on your road? Unless and until that doesn't happen. There have been instances, even in my constituency I see right now, you make a good road, right? And then one pipeline agency or gas agency will wake up saying, "Arey, mera kaam to baki hai, wapas khodne do." And that is so essential that you have to give the permission. So unless and until you do that, you will never have a good road. And this problem is unique to Mumbai because our utilities, 99% of them are below the ground.
Okay. Do you think Mumbai now needs a system like we see in other cities, right from Jakarta to New York? And right now New York is in the news because of a unlikely contender possibly becoming the mayor. Do you think Mumbai should replicate that model of governance where there's a mayor elected by the people who controls everything? Do you think that's...
See, whether you want a directly elected mayor or not is always going to be debatable, because sometimes I see in some settings across India where you have direct mayors, or you have directly elected heads of that particular type of system, be it the ZP or wherever, in Zilla Parishads, where the CEO, the president comes elected directly, but the other people are elected of another party. And that's where a deadlock happens, right? In a system like India where you have a prime ministerial democracy where the prime minister, the chief minister is chosen from the majority party, which is way easier for the prime minister, the chief minister to work, you could have the mayor elected as elected today, which is from the majority party elected to the BMC by the people of the city. What is very, very important is, once elected as the mayor, what are the powers you're giving to the mayor? Most of the mayors that we have seen, or at least I have seen in my lifetime, are more of a ceremonial head. And what the speaker is to the Vidhan Sabha or the Lok Sabha, the mayor is to the general body of whichever municipal corporation across Maharashtra, be it Nasik, Nagpur, Mumbai, Thane, Kalyan, Dombivli, Pune, wherever. Ideally, I would love the mayor to have more administrative powers, more executive powers, powers to also shift bureaucrats once they have been assigned to the municipal corporation. And along with that, you also empower the entire general body of the municipal corporation.
So Mumbai can do with the mayor system provided you give him enough powers, right?
You need an empowered BMC. You need a unitary or you need a solitary agency that is the town planning agency of Mumbai. And this is what I see after being in government and outside government and after being in BMC or not.
Away from roads, housing, my pet subject. Can Mumbai ever become an affordable housing market, or will it always remain expensive?
You're the expert, you should tell me.
Right now, by affordability, Mumbai is the most expensive market in the world. Have we just, how do we land up in this complete mess?
See, I'll tell you, there will be two ways of looking at it, right? When you speak of commercial markets and when you speak of a very general sense of doing business, why does everyone choose Mumbai? Because there is a certain value you get in Mumbai. And that's what makes things a little expensive, or even wildly expensive of some of the things that I've been hearing even in my constituency, where Worli Seaface is supposed to be the new billionaire's row, right? But there are people buying it. And there are people who are wanting to do more business there because there is a market for that. So that is one, which is the private sector, which will obviously focus on earning money, making profits. And that is one of the aspirational business classes that you will always have in a city like Mumbai, which you have to accept as a reality, where, you know, that people will come to make money. And better the sales, and you will always have, you know, more profits, which is fine. Where we are faltering today is where the government's responsibility is of looking after those people who cannot afford even affordable housing, right? Like, for example, something like Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. How many of those units have actually been completed in Mumbai? The second question which I have come to realize, or rather, you know, sort of push forward with even when we were in government is, yes, we have the SRA. SRA was the dream project of my grandfather, who back then wanted to create free homes for those who live in slums in Mumbai, give them formal homes and a life of dignity. Over the years, it has transformed into what it has come to, and there have been many projects that have come to fruition. I can tell you with a sense of sort of pride where in Worli, over the next 3 years, we'll probably be slum free. We'll have formal homes for most of the slums in Worli now, almost 99% of the slums. The affordable housing question that you really ask is, where is the sector coming from? There will be always people who are working in government who need a home beyond service. For example, the police. There have been generations of, you know, police families I know who have been serving Mumbai police, and now when they come to retirement, they're looking for an accommodation in Mumbai, but it's beyond their means. You will have government servants who worked in the government, state government, or the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, who have come to retirement and need a home in Mumbai, but it's beyond their means to buy a home which is in the commercial market. You will have people in the SRA market who have been living in slums for 17, 18 years, who need a home, but it's beyond their needs. These are the kind of markets that I see where the government must intervene, because I'm not calling it a market failure, but it's the responsibility of the government to create homes for them.
But then
one of the bigger sectors that Mumbai has, or the state government has ignored for a long time. When we were in government, we brought in this thing of 79A, 79B, where cess buildings or pagdi properties, right? More than 15,000 pagdi properties or cess buildings, not developed for years at end now, because there is always this fight of landlords versus tenants, and sometimes one of them wants to develop but the other doesn't want to develop. Then whether it's really dilapidated or not, all of these things, there are lakhs of people who are living in these buildings that may be dangerous or not, but I have suggested to the state government, I've written to the chief minister, because with the amendments we brought in are now challenged in the court, so it's stuck. But I've suggested to the honorable chief minister saying, look, why don't you bring in an amendment which says, regardless of whether the building is dilapidated or not, a trigger point is 1965. Any building that was built before 1965, you give them an option of 6 months to the landlord and then 6 months to the tenants later, saying if you want to develop, you have the right to develop that. Choose to develop and go ahead. It'll help a huge amount of stock to be created in Mumbai. a huge amount of people getting better homes and access to better lives, plus affordability will come to actual affordable point.
Has Mumbai been unfair to its middle class? Because like you said about SRA, and I'm sure it's a well-intentioned policy, but slum dwellers who encroach on land, they get free homes. But people who don't, they have to pay through their noses to get even a smaller home.
See, but the perspective in this is where, when you think of it like that, right? One perspective could be you're taking the slum dwellers to be not being contributing to the Mumbai's economy at all. Right? No, not you. I'm saying generally because sometimes when I get this perspective, oh, you're speaking of Dharavi, you're speaking of Jijamata, you're speaking of something like, another scheme. What about us? And 100% agree that it is the hard-earned taxpayer money that is also very, very important. The middle class is also very, very important. But what happens is with the SRA schemes, these are people who are contributing on a daily basis to jobs which you and I won't ever do. And the earnings are so low and below par where you won't be able to buy a house in a lifetime unless and until there is government support to it. The second one which you're talking of is the middle bracket where, like I said, when some of these pagdi buildings are developed or cess buildings are redeveloped, you will have thousands of homes, lakhs of homes coming into the market, which will bring your price point to a very affordable price point for the group that you are talking of.
Okay. For the middle class, do you think it probably makes sense that government provides some support in the way of at least things like stamp duty? We have one uniform stamp duty for anybody buying a home. Should that be done, as per home size and home value?
So two things we had done. One was the stamp duty thing during COVID. And after that, when we reduced the stamp duty, I think the highest sales have happened in a decade because of that decision. And it actually sustained one of the largest industries in our country, which is the housing thing. The Deepak Parekh committee actually brought that about as a suggestion for us during COVID times and how do you revive the market.
In terms of these decisions for housing or whatever, housing sector saw a boom of 10 years, a spike of 10 years.
I agree that the stamp duty cut from 5 to 2%, it revived the market. Agreed. Do you think for the middle class now, we have to start thinking of ways of making things be affordable for them even with government support? And the easiest government support is stamp duty, where you reduce it for homes and homes value below say 1 crore, below 2 crore, create slabs. Do you think that's a model that could?
See, there will be multiple models, right? I mean,
just the both of us speaking for a model here will be very difficult because of course we don't come from a very, very urban planning or housing certificate or, educational course. But like you and I have discussed before, probably, just before this thing also, where in India, do satellite cities really work or they become cities by themselves, right? Two, you see a sort of a development model in Mumbai where the western coast has been very well developed. Certain parts of the eastern suburbs towards the north have been developed. The spine of Mumbai really has now, you see the commercial districts. So you see Nariman Point, you see Worli, you see Lower Parel, you see BKC and up north towards Powai. The spine of Mumbai really has the more CBD-like thing. The east coast is something that needs to be opened up, but once again, by the will of Mumbaikars and the BMC, not by someone sitting in Delhi.
see, one East Coast. Again, the East Coast was something we had spoken about in 2013 first. We've been chasing the BJP government since back then to hand it over to Mumbai and the BMC. It's 911 acres that can be used for Mumbai.
See, one of my worries about this Bombay Port Trust land, and I, of course, just when I see land, I get excited.
Yeah.
Okay. But one of my fears with anything which is under the government is that will they screw it up by messing it up like it happened to the mill land in Lower Parel?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a big risk we run with the Bombay Port?
Which is why I said, this land has to be administered by Mumbaikars through BMC. Now, exactly the example you gave me about the mill land. Who is in charge of the mill land? The NTC, the National Textiles Corporation. Where is it run from? Delhi. Where does the officer sit? In Delhi. Where does the minister sit? In Delhi. Now, why would a person sitting in Delhi decide what every inch of Mumbai needs and requires? It should be decided by Mumbaikars, right? Today, lakhs of mill workers who were promised homes back then have not got homes because of this unplanned development and builders really going, some of the builders, I'm not putting every builder in a, I make a differentiation between developers and builders now. That is, sort of one is the negative tone, the other is a little positive tone. Just like politician can have a positive and a negative tone, and bureaucrats also. But there were land shacks who grabbed it, and 1/3 of the land that was supposed to go towards mill housing, mill workers housing, Never happened. So my fear is if BPT opens up, and today even as we speak, there are lakhs of people who are living in different colonies across the East Coast, right? You have BDD Shivdi, you have a whole lot of Shivdi Paral living in BPT, you have till Kulaba, you have people living north to south. You need to take care of them. You need to redevelop their houses because they've contributed to Mumbai as well.
Is Aditya pro-developer or anti-developer? Are you what's the worldview?
I'm neutral. If you ruin my city, I'm anti you.
If you contribute to our city, always will support you.
So how do you judge the fact that a developer is looting or not looting? What's your
See, I mean, again,
as someone who's been in the hot seat, how often
it wasn't that hot. It didn't give me rebels, and thankfully, no.
how often did you see like builders come to you for favors and all? That's a very common thing.
I'll tell you, one of the biggest
Grouses of developers or builders or people in the real estate and in industry with the ministry I took charge in 2019 was that the permissions for EC and CRC Act were given at a very women fancy basis. You come and meet me and then I'll give you the permission. You come and meet me, I will think of giving you the permission. If you do something for me, I'll give you the permission. I said, please do not come to me because that is not something I want. We brought all of this, all the permissions on the Parivesh portal. When I became a minister for the first time, the pendency was almost for 8 months. I said, please sit all through the week. I told department and said, all of this pendency has to go away. We must come down to a pendency of a week. And if someone comes to me, I would say, look, I cannot say whether it's a yes or no because that's no longer the discretion of the minister, at least in my time. I don't know if it started again today. But I can assure you that you will get a hearing in a week's time, fairly and squarely, whatever the people who are experts on that panel, and we actually appointed experts. If you see the names of the people on the panel, we appointed experts and those experts would not listen to someone, right, in the way of listening. They would give you a fair hearing. If you have your scheme which is okay, you would go through. Which is why, Vishal, if you ask any developer or any industrialist who worked with my department in those 2.5 years of me being minister, not a single person will be able to point a finger at me because I was only there to earn reputation and goodwill, not what most people are in politics for, and which is why no one has been able to blame me.
Why do most politicians love real estate though?
I'll tell you what. When you say contribute and the positive, negative, right? See, contribution can be in a way where you're actually enhancing the lives of people. Now, something like an SRA, where you create your sale tower and rehab tower in the same way, in the same fashion, in the same quality, I would love that person because you're actually enhancing the life of those who originally lived there. You're giving them a better quality of life, giving them formal homes, a better standard of living, along with the sale tower. You're giving them equality at par, right?
Do you think slum dwellers have behaved fairly? Because from maybe it's anecdotal, maybe it's a widespread trend. I don't know that. I note that many slum dwellers who get these free homes thereafter rent it out or sell it.
See, that is their lookout. Like, for example, even sale houses, you buy something as an investment or you buy something as a home.
But then
right?
slum dwellers got the house for free.
I agree. But then finally, you have a quality of life and you have an opportunity. Finally, it's for that person to think for the family. And I will not go into those nitty-gritties because again, see, finally what happens is to each his own, right? But my point is this, that once you've had a good home, going further than that, you've at least got a safe home, which is a dream for many in Mumbai today. As against, you see a lot of slum societies, and I see in Worli when I first became MLA, the two predecessor MLAs also are with me, working with me as MLCs. The three of us sitting together, we see a lot of slums which were stuck for 16 years, 17 years, little permission issues, someone's going on a height issue, someone's going on an FSI issue, someone's in a defense area or something like that. Finally, the three of us coming together, pushing the system, we've come to a point where we only have now from almost 36 total schemes to about 3 or 4 remaining. And like I said, within the next 3 years, all of these will go into redevelopment and you'll see a lot of them start coming back by the end of my term. So
why didn't politicians attend to SRA projects much better earlier? Like in the last 6 years, we can see there's been substantial progress, both under your administration as well as the current. We're seeing a lot of progress there. Why do you think earlier politicians didn't care? Is it true that what many people believe, that politicians like to keep the slum dwellers under their grip, and for that you have to keep the cycle of being in the slum continue?
See, I mean, again, I couldn't speak for them, but for me at least, whenever I've gone to people's homes in campaigns in 2019 also and 2024 also, one of the biggest transformation we made was the BDD chawls, right? Or even when I go to slums, the base minimal question is, sir, हमें अपना घर कब मिलेगा, हक का घर कब मिलेगा, अच्छा घर कब मिलेगा? I want to be able to go at the end of my term and say, मैंने मेरा promise fulfill किया. That is my perspective. He may vote for me, she may vote for me, not vote for me. That is their lookout, right? And that's fate, that's your hard work, that's what politics is. But I call this sort of, I have this joke with my friend where this is almost something like the Batman effect, where you've helped someone, that person may or may not know whether you've helped or not. But you feel good at the end of the day that you've made this road better, you've protected this open space, you've given someone their home. BDD, Worldly, Nam's Ocean, BDD, Vadara project going on since ages. I remember 1995 or 6, the first talk started about this. I was 5 or 6 years old back then. When I became MLA in 2019, already the early Chief Minister, Mr. Fadnavis, had gone and started off something there, but not an inch had moved from there. 2020, we met those people. They came to me because 2019 and we got to government. 2020 started meeting those people right after COVID. 1st August 2021 was the time where we got the 3 contractors who were in charge of that, Mahada and all the people together. And we said, look, do we want this to happen or not? And there were some changes made, some things made better in the whole scheme of things. And as we speak, 15,000 families in 2 places in Worli and 1 place in Vadara will get their homes. And this started happening in 1st August 2021. Within 4 years, we have towers coming up. 15,000 families moving from 160 square feet, which were made as jails earlier, are getting 500 square feet homes in the middle of Worli.
क्या है सबसे emotional moment you have seen from a slum dweller जब उनको घर मिला?
See, like I said, it's about, sometimes they're so enthralled by it, like they don't know what to say, right? So some of them just want to hug you. Some of them just want to be like thankful to you because they have a grandkid, which is, growing up now, 9 or 10 years old, and they have an expanding family, but they have never seen a better home or a better lifestyle. They have worked all their life. They've come with a dream from somewhere, either from across Maharashtra, across India. Getting a home in Mumbai, be it a slum dweller or be it the highest and the costliest house in Mumbai, it's the same thing. It's a dream for a lot of people to get a home in Mumbai.
In your view, why do most politicians love real estate?
I have not seen anything from their view. I think my view is you better the area. See, for me, again, my basic question to any developer who's coming into Worli are 2 things. How are you contributing to the periphery of that area with your architects? I'm not necessarily saying give the funds. I'm saying either help us with the talent and show it to the BMC to make the footpaths better, the roads better, the median better, the beautification better. Or, how are you enhancing the quality of my life in terms of my constituency and the facade of that thing? So, for example, something like when Nucleus Parks or Blackstone, what is it? They came to Senapati Bapad Mark and they said, how can we contribute to the area? I said, please, you get the artists, you choose your urban planners, please make that flyover and under flyover thing better. And you see what's turned out to be there, right?
Green Mile, right? I think
Green Mile, 1 Green Mile. So these are some of the things that I love doing. Likewise, when Jizamata Nagar now has cleared up and you see an entire flat land there, that entire slum pocket always has been cooperative, but was one of the biggest fears for us during COVID for a rapid spread. They cooperated well, stayed safe, but now that pocket will become, you have rehab buildings coming there, which will be really good, plus sale towers, and you also have road going from E. Moses Road to Lotus Junction from there. So these are some of the things that you have DP roads being implemented, you have open spaces being implemented. This is what is most exciting for me when it comes to real estate or, these pockets, be it a chawl, be it a slum, being redeveloped into a building.
Are you supportive of the idea that a builder should be a politician or a politician should be a builder?
Are you talking of other countries with heads of state like that, or?
No, sir. Donald Trump is the pinnacle of that. But in Maharashtra, we have quite a few people, like often when I hear some of the press conferences, I'm actually very, very impressed and surprised that, the politicians know the rules of real estate in such depth.
And most of them earn well through that depth. So
is it just that mechanism that real estate allows politicians to make so much money that would pay attention?
I'll tell you what, I think the point you're coming from is whether a politician should get into in industry, like being a builder or being any other, whatever he wants to be or she wants to be, right? I think what is important is if a politician could be a doctor and a politician, or an architect and a politician, or whatever field, that's fine. As long as there's no conflict of interest, and as long as you're not using one to support the other, right? And most often you're not using your politics to support your business, not pushing people away, forcing people away. If that is not happening, it's all good.
But doesn't that happen all the time? If a
We have one famous one who's a minister now, and you see his land bank everywhere. And
Now there are complaints about him, in my constituency also, where he's changed the footpath because he's a minister and things like that. So that keeps happening. But that is, something we have to keep fighting. But that shouldn't hold back politicians from getting into businesses which are free and fair.
Because one of the challenges I've always seen, and this is a global problem, that when politicians or when builders enter politics, then the entire engine of making real estate function for them gives them a big competitive advantage. From land acquisition to permissions to everything.
See, you're going to start seeing the municipal corporation or the government as your office then. You can't make them work for you. Because many times what happens is they start doing these annexures and plan changes and all of that. That is the problem.
But that frequently happens, and that happens not in
That's-
in Bangalore as well.
Exactly. And I mean, that is a major problem. But of course, that is a global phenomenon. And that's something that we have to navigate through.
Okay.
Just when people talk about slums, the big topic is Dharavi.
Yeah.
Okay. You have been waging a war against Adani for the last year and a half. Is your problem Adani or is your problem Dharavi Redevelopment?
This is something you'll have another podcast for probably. But let me get some facts very clearly out there. Firstly, the problem or the fight is not with Adani on a personal basis. We know him socially, just like everyone else does, not a problem at all. Why we speak about Adani is because his group, and when I say Adani, it's the Adani group, I don't mean Adani as an individual, has taken over Dharavi for redevelopment. Now, Dharavi, to give you a perspective, is about 300 acres, right? And Dharavi is not just slums. Dharavi is also MSMEs, which is micro, medium, small industries. You have enterprises there, you have food industry, you have leather industry, you have potters, you have the Kolivada. You've got multiple people and you've got multiple religions, multiple languages, multiple regions staying in Dharavi. Most of these Dharavikars work across Mumbai on different projects, right from infrastructure projects to, bigger industries to whatever, and also have their little industries inside Dharavi. Now, when you want to redevelop an area, Vishal, obviously you take everyone who's there on your annexure. You have a legitimacy guide, who's eligible, who's not eligible. Whoever's not eligible, there are ways that builders or, if there's a political pressure, lobby group down there, you see how they can fit into it and get formal homes, right? Now, this is one group of it. The bigger problem is, tell me something, if you were a developer and you were developing, say, one of the schemes across Mumbai, and you took over that scheme as a builder. Once you've taken over that scheme, you say, "Arey, itna jagah mein possible nahi hai, give me more land across Mumbai." Will the government go beyond its means and give you free land across Mumbai?
Unlikely.
That is where it starts. So 300 acres, which is Dharavi, which is all of it put together, and the government has already given it 240 acres, which is additional land right next to it, making it 540 acres for the development or redevelopment of Dharavi. This is the first bit of it. Now, the 540 acres if 240 acres are, without encumbrances or without hindrances, why will you not create transit homes or pakka homes there and then redevelop the rest of 300 acres? But what's got into the mind of this group, of the Adani group, is we want this 540 acres, this is ours. But we also want 600 acres across Mumbai free of cost or virtually free of cost, which also includes Mother Dairy 21 acres, which also includes salt pan lands, which includes non-development zones, which includes Aksa Beach, which includes Mulund, Ghatkopar, Vikroli, which also includes Devna dumping ground. Now, put together, this is a land bank of 16 to 1700 acres in Mumbai, almost free of cost, or whatever peanuts cost. Now, firstly, as a Mumbaikar, again, if you go back to the government and say, look, forget development, give me 1 square inch in Mumbai or give me 1 square foot in Mumbai, free of cost, will the government give it to you? Will it give it to you?
Unlikely, but then Adani is taking on the task of the redevelopment.
They own the BJP, so that's a whole different part altogether. But my point is this, that 1,700 acres free of cost in lands that were not open for development earlier, or lands that are dangerous or detrimental to Mumbai's environment in terms of salt pan, open spaces, all of that, given to one group for redevelopment of 300 acres. Now, when you say you're redeveloping Dharavi, who does redevelopment belong to? Or who are you doing the redevelopment for? For the people of Dharavi? You know what the eligibility of Dharavi is? Anyone staying there before 1st January 2000 is eligible to get a 305 square feet home in Dharavi. Tell me something, how many people, if you go today into Dharavi, will have that eligibility or have certificates or documents proving that? Then comes the next step, which is your general SRA eligibility, which is 1st Jan 2011. If you are that, you can choose to go to a housing provided by Adani outside of Dharavi, which is Mulund, Ghatkopar, Vikroli, Kurla, Aksa Beach. And beyond 2011, you will have to buy a house at PM Awas Yojana rates from Adani in wherever he constructs. This is the second problem. So basically 1,700 acres being monetized for 300 acres in the name of redevelopment for people? No. For people who live there? No. God knows whom. 3. Now when you are developing all of this, obviously as a developer, you're supposed to pay premiums, right? Why has the BMC, without an elected body there, said that 7,500 crores, almost 8,000 crores of premium has been written off or exempted for the Adani Group for Dharavi? Is Adani Group not going to make exponential profits in that? Astronomical profits in that? So if you're going to earn lakhs and lakhs of crores by developing 1,700 acres of real estate in Mumbai, why should you be exempted from paying 7,500 crores to Mumbai's municipal corporation that needs it today?
But then notice premium, open space premium, rest of the premiums, development premium, all of it sab maaf kar diya.
TDR. You know TDR better than anyone else. The TDR scam and the land bank scam by Adani in Mumbai is probably the biggest scam in the world. TDR is supposed to be brought from other builders or real estate people who hold that TDR. They've bought it from the BMC or they've got the BMC to give it to them because they miss out on something else, right? The rule today is anyone wanting to buy TDR in Mumbai, the first 40% of TDR has to be bought only and only from Adani. Why should that market be monopolized? So your premiums are exempt, TDR is given to only one group and you have to buy it from only one group without annexation and indexation. All of that has been removed from Mumbai. Beyond that, they've got plenipotentiary powers where if you write to the UD department or the BMC saying, I want to do this in this 1,700 acres, within 15 days, if the BMC or the UD department says yes or no, the choice is still yours of what to do. Why are we having elected representatives then? Who does Mumbai belong to then? I have this document also where one fine day the Adani Group woke up and said, look, we've got 1,700 acres in Mumbai, but we also want the Devnar dumping ground. And the BMC said, no, we need this. This is an active dumping ground. Said, no, we need this land. Please give it to us. The UD department says, give it to the BMC, give it to the Adani Group. Land given free of cost, despite BMC's objections. After that, the Adani Group wakes up saying, oh, there is garbage out here, heaps and heaps of garbage. We need this cleaned. The BMC says, this belongs to you. You've snatched the land from us. The land belongs to you. It's on your name. Please clean it up. Adani Group says, no, land is ours. The responsibility is yours. You clean it up. You will use your money to clean it up. Because of this expenditure, the BMC is now encumbering an expenditure of almost 2,500-3,000 crores. You know who is that being charged on to? You and me as Mumbaikars. For the first time, the BJP has proposed from the state government to the BMC that Mumbaikars be charged a waste collection fee. For the first time in the history of Mumbai. Why should you and I pay for cleaning up Adani's land? On a land that is going to earn astronomical profits. You know, in Mulund, I saw the master plan of Mulund. They have rehab buildings there. But just to suffice for those rehab buildings, they're also creating sale buildings. So what are you doing in Mumbai? When I say this with a fair share of honesty, absolute transparency, that had it been our government also, it could have been Adani Group, it could have been anyone else, whoever won the tender fair and square. But our objection is not to Adani. Our objection is to any developer, any industrialist, any person who's coming to our city and looting the city like this. You take away the extra lands, you give back the salt pan lands to Mumbai, you give the dumping ground back to the BMC, you give back the 540 acres that have been given to you additionally, or 600 acres additionally to Mumbai. You buy it from Mumbai, no problem. You can do rehab, you can do whatever you want to do there. You do sale, you sell it for whatever money, we don't mind. But you can't take it free of cost without paying our city its fair share. And our problem is the added on incentives, going beyond the means of Mumbai, giving it to one person so that that one person can be the most whatever richest in the world or whatever. The BJP actually started putting out in the social media handles that Rohingyas and Bangladeshis live in Dharavi. Firstly, to most of the BJP supporters, I don't think they know the difference between Bangladeshi and Rohingya. Two, they will never be able to answer of how having their own home minister for the country in the last 11 years, Rohingyas and Bangladeshis probably got in. But three, when I went there, when I went to the Kumbharwada where the potters live, do you know where they come from? Somnath district in Gujarat. Most of them speak Gujarati. They've been living there for 3 generations, 4 generations. They do beautiful pottery. I can take you there. And you see their basic demand. They're like, sir, हमें कुछ नहीं चाहिए. हमें सिर्फ इतना जानना है कि हम कहाँ जाएंगे. हमारे जो घर है, उसका क्या होगा? हमारा जो धंधा है, वो कहाँ जाएगा? Give these 3 answers, no one's opposing you. But if you try to shift them before that, I will tell you not a single person will move.
So you think Dharavi project redevelopment won't take off?
Redevelopment is needed, not selfish development.
Do you think there's a possibility it will not take off right now? I think the wind is clearly saying it'll happen.
See, the wind can blow whichever way, but it's not going to ruffle the leaves on the ground. We've got strong trees, it's not falling leaves. So the point is this, that if the project is in its shape and form as it is today, you bring whatever to shift these people, whoever, they've tried goons, they've tried gangsters, they've tried everything, not a single soul will move from there.
In your view, looking at what's happening at Dharavi, is there a possibility that this project, what we envisage from the outside, is that right now I think most people have the view that it's on its way to taking off. Do you don't share that optimism for the redevelopment as such?
I'll tell you what, if the Adani group and whoever else is investing in it and developing it and all that, stick to the ground rules of Mumbai, respect Mumbai, give Mumbaikars their own dignity, and account Dharavikars as larger Mumbaikars only. Be it Mumbaikars from Dharavi, be it Mumbaikars from Mulund, Ghatkopar, Vikhroli, Kurla, who have been worried about what's going to happen to their neighborhoods. If they get the due respect, we as Mumbaikars will support this project and give it the wings to fly and take off. But if they don't, it won't happen.
In your view, in case if Adani wasn't the player to do it, and government for its challenges can't do it, are there any players that come to your mind who you think could execute?
If I say this, you or the audience may think I'm biased against the Adani group. Let's take Adani, being Adani in this project as of today. My only thing is, don't escape the premiums, don't escape the taxes, don't just usurp land in Mumbai free of cost. Pay Mumbai's due share, go ahead with it, and give Dharavikars homes where they live today. Speak to them about where their businesses will go.
So basically, you don't have a problem with Adani, you have a problem with the terms of the engagement.
Absolutely. Otherwise, Adani has a construction back in my neighborhood, Adani has an airport, Adani has a lot of things. We have most unions everywhere and they're cooperative and supportive. Our problem is anyone looting the system.
Would you say that you and Gautam Adani are friends?
See, we know everyone socially. And I wouldn't say it's on a basis of friendship, but socially you have to know each other. That is not a problem. We don't deny that. But friends or no friends, looting my city is not something we will negotiate on. We will never let that happen.
Do relationships between politicians and businessmen, including builders, get hampered because of these sort of equations, or the relationship?
Ideally, it shouldn't be, because whatever we've been saying is out there in the public, right? And it's not personal as we've been saying it. It's about policy. It's about the city. It's not negotiable. Otherwise, it shouldn't affect the friendship if we are being so open and honest about it, and if you're being so principled about it.
Who would be like the top 3 entrepreneurs of India in Aditya's book at this point of time?
Indian. Oh God, that's a tough one. I mean, there are so many good ones doing it, and you see, the problem is, there are some who come up there and sustain, and there are some who, you have a lot of hope in, and within 6 months they fizzle out. So let's not.
Who are the 1 or 2 that really?
Politicians today fighting elections are also entrepreneurs. So that is self-entrepreneurs.
But any names that come to your mind that you think?
I wouldn't want to.
Like, wait, means I can see that in the top 3, Adani won't find a mention. But besides, like the Ambanis, Tatas, all those.
See, obviously have the families who've done well, right? Even for Reliance to do pivot towards digitization and move towards Geo has been a big bet. But that's connected the country in such a big way.
You see the Birlas contributing to our city. You see the Ambanis contributing to our city. You see the Tatas doing so much work across the country. And you also see the non-traditional names coming up in the last 5-6 years and doing some great work. So that has always been the case.
You brought the angle of politicians being entrepreneurs as well. One big challenge that people keep talking in that doesn't attract right people in politics is the cost of actually running an election. We have some figures of the EC, the mandates that are there, 40 lakhs, etc.
Yeah.
In Mumbai, if somebody was to do an election, if I was to fight an election tomorrow, how much do you think would it cost?
See, from our party, you will have to stick to the norms because we don't go above and beyond the means, and we don't even have the means, or we've never gone into that, which is why probably some people ran away and got better means to fight elections. I think in today's world, see, there are two ways to write, right?
Practical, honest, but see, I think many of the things are in the books.
There are numbers that have come to us when we fought elections in the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha, where the opponents have spent almost to, 80, 90, 100 crores in one constituency, and that has been scary. And that's where a lot of our candidates also think that how will we ever fight this? And our only suggestion to them is, in today's world, if you have social media, if you have the media, maybe some of it is biased, but some of it is also neutral today. If you make a mark for yourself, if you fight for the people, if you raise their voice, not everyone's going to go with the flow of money. You have genuine people voting for you and you will win. And that's how you felt.
Peak would be like 100 crores, you would say.
You will always have the other side. You will always have the dark side, and you will always have the kinds who will be like, oh, I'm sticking to my principles. If you want to do that, come to my party. Otherwise,
How easy is it for Aditya to attract, the typical middle class of Mumbai into your party? Shiv Sena, because of its legacy, has not really been seen as this urban party which the elite would like.
I'll tell you, Vishal, but if you see genuinely, the electorate that's helped us in the last 25 years win the BMC, it has been Mumbai, right? Mumbai Cups, and Mumbai Cups from all levels. If you see a vote share, if you see the votes in every ward, be it if you compare it in terms of socio-economic politics or in any strata, we have got good amount of votes from almost every constituency.
But don't you dominate more in the slums, because that's where you guys are king?
No, something like Worldly Sea Face or something like, you see couple of areas across Mumbai. No, Mumbai always has everybody. You will have high-rise towers, you'll have slums, you'll have chawls, you have multiple people living in it, and different backgrounds, ethnicities, languages, all of that. Having said that, Mumbai unanimously has stood by one name, which is Uddhav Thackeray. And for the last 25 years, they've trusted this name because it is a name that's clean, that's trustworthy. It's also a name that you can, trust and repose faith in, saying this man won't lie to us, this man won't cheat us. And that's what has happened.
So would you say that the perception of Shiv Sena to an outsider has changed a lot in the last 5-6 years?
I think a lot of barriers have been broken. A lot of perspectives that were sort of blinkered have been broken. And that also is a part of, yes, outreach from our side, but also, like I say, social media is always a two-sided sword, right? One is coming at you, but the other is always breaking those barriers. So that has happened.
So from 2019 onward, you think your image would...
See, there's a huge, I wouldn't say fan base, but a constituency that's been created across Maharashtra and India for my father, Uddhav Thackeray, where just him being the CM, being in an administrative post, handling a crisis like COVID, putting out real numbers, saying this is where we are falling back, this is where we are making good strides.
What was the toughest thing for your father in being in government? He was always, I saw one of his appearances in a conclave where he said that I don't understand things like fiscal deficit and all those things. Just sitting in the hot seat. What do you think was the first big shock to him?
So obviously, for me and for him equally. So I contested elections and then he came through as a chief minister right when we won the elections. And for both of us, it was learning on the job. We were doing our apprenticeship while being ministers and chief minister. And a lot of things I think that come with a lot of paraphernalia or protocol and a lot of, this has to happen this way. What you realize is there are some things that you break down simply and you can just be yourself. Like, for example, I'll give you a very simple example, and that's what he's told me, that, when you become a minister or when he became a chief minister,
obviously there are people around you who go as yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, and you're surrounded in a bubble, and you wear the jacket and you start thinking, oh, you're a minister, I shouldn't be seen at this restaurant, I shouldn't be having chai here, I shouldn't be going to the theatre. And he's like, Aditya, just be yourself, who the people have elected, before you became all of that, before you had the trappings of power. Because you start going into a bubble of your own and thinking, oh, whether this is the right thing to do or not. You have to go by what your heart tells you. Just be a normal person. You don't have to pretend that you work 24 hours. You don't have to pretend that you don't need sleep. You don't have to pretend that you don't need a holiday. You don't need to pretend that you don't need time out. Just be honest and genuine. And you don't need to say things that don't convince you first. So yeah, and then of course when you sit at the tables and when you think of the big numbers that the state throws at you, the deficit and the taxes and this and that, you have to belong to that room and you have to break it down to what the simple things are again. And then it comes through.
For the 2.5 year period, let's come to that. I think there are 3 parts. The first one on the Mumbai Metro. The line has opened recently. Have you been on it so far?
Not yet. But I may while going to Vidhan Bhavan or something, yeah?
In hindsight, now the tempers have cooled, would you say you went wrong in that?
Exactly, now breaking your perspective and perception on this, right? The Mumbai Metro 3 that you were talking of, the underground line, the Aqua line, what the BJP claims is we stopped the work. Now, right from the time that the work started in roughly 2015 or 2016 to 2024, the work of the line was never stopped for a day, not even during the first COVID wave. Never did the work of the Mumbai Metro Line 3 or any other metro stop. In fact, on the contrary, there were times where my father as the chief minister or me as the guardian minister have gone and inspected the work and tried to weed out the hurdles that come in for any infrastructure work, be it the MTHL, which is now called the Adal Setu, or whatever, for the metro lines or whatever. There have been 2 metro lines that were inaugurated by my father as the chief minister. Had we not carried on the work, the inauguration would have never happened or completion wouldn't have ever happened. 3, what we were against and what we stand by even today and what is a genuine fault is, 1, the Mumbai Metro Line 3 doesn't have a holding line, which means if today, even today, and this I'm not going into technical arguments with the officers, but this is the truth, where if one of the bogies is spoilt or breaks down, you will have to pull it down right up to wherever it is in RA and then start the line again because you don't have holding lines in that. 2, what we were against is the RA car shed. Now, you've heard Mr. Nitin Gadkari often say that, oh, metro lines don't need car sheds today, because generally and practically, car sheds is a place where the metro line is pulled or the metro rail is pulled once in 3 months for servicing, cleaning, whatever. What we were doing on the contrary is connecting Metro Line 4, Metro Line 6, Metro Line 3 and Metro Line 14, connecting the entire MMR region from one point in Kanjur Marg, which was claimed to be a salt pan land by the salt commissioner then, and now it's given to Adani for affordable housing. That same land would have been a connecting point for almost 4 crore people, 4.5 crore people of Mumbai's MMR region. From that point, you would have had 1 car shed for 4 metro lines. You would have had 1 construction, 1 maintenance agency, 1 operation maintenance agency, 1 agency that runs the entire operations. Your land acquisition cost was 0 because that land belonged to the government on paper as when we had started work then. Now what has happened? RA has been made. Now they're looking for Metro Line 6. They will either go to Pahadi Goregaon or they'll go to the same plot, one of the same plots that we had chosen for the common Metro Line. For 4 and 14, you may have had politicians already aggregating land there and they will pay additional cost to that. What will be, on an average, the construction cost for Metro Line 6 car shed, Metro Line 4 car shed, Metro Line 14 car shed? Roughly about 9,000 crores. I'm not even counting the favorite escalation of most politicians. By constructing 1 car shed for 4 lines connecting the entire MMR, you would have had seamless travel from one line to another without changing your metro car from that one point throughout the MMR region. You now have to hop from Metro Line 3 to Metro Line 6 by a skywalk and an escalator. That would have never happened because you would have been seamlessly connected to South Mumbai from east-west corners of Mumbai and likewise from Ambernath or Gaim, wherever it's coming from, right?
So you don't regret anything that happened?
So 10,000 crores on an average would have been saved by constructing 1 nodal point of communication, transport, management, connection. That is 1 car shed.
Land acquisition cost would have been zero.
Maintenance costs would have been common. Overhead wires are same, tracks are same, bogies are same. What changes except for the love of all of these guys in government to escalate the costs and buy land from aggregated land banks? Two, I also have a list given to me by an officer back then of all the escalations that have happened on this Metro Line 3, which are like 100%, 200% for all the stations. Three, 10,000 crores, which is against the guideline of the CVC, have been spent by September of 2019, a month before the elections of Vidhan Sabha, without going for cabinet approval. 10,000 crores. So a project which started off at 23,000 crores initially, escalated to 34,000 crores before we came to government, and whatever cost they've shown now is all escalation during that time. And this is on record. I can prove this, which is why I can sit in front of you without, a grain of remorse and say that what we were doing was the right thing. We were connecting.
Single thing you don't regret.
We were connecting the entire MMR region into one car shed, where the cars go anyway once in 2 to 3 months. The other thing I'll want to point out to you is their own report says by 2034, the RA car depot will hit peak capacity and they will need a car depot because of the headway time. What are we wasting our money on? Why aren't we thinking futuristic? If I agree, metro's futuristic, why not planning is futuristic?
So all in all, Aditya does not regret any step that happened on
Can
the...
you debate this with the Chief Minister as well? One-on-one.
Okay, Aditya, the second big thing that I think happened during your tenure as well as before and now also is that now I think politics has become very, very intense, very competitive. Lots of actions that you took, which were controversial then and right now I think also they've been forgotten to some extent. One of them was the demolition of a house of an actor, Kangana Ranaut.
We didn't take it. It was the BMC that took it, and it was a legality. So
That's
and I
obvious,
think,
but I'm
look,
sure those are political.
Not going into that, but now I don't know if the BJP also is now thinking highly of that person with the statements. It's up to them. Look at the constituents, what they are facing now. That's up to them. See, the thing is for us, we shouldn't go into the legality of things. If there's something that's illegal and we're trying to stop it, that's wrong in everybody's eyes.
So here recently we had the case from the other side of the comedian Kunal Kamra. He did his...
This was broken down. That was not legality. That was vandalism. In police protection, you saw the cops there and you saw vandalism.
But the structure had illegality as well.
Yeah, there is difference, right? One is legality, the other is vandalism. And the funny part is, these guys who went after what, like a month or so, and they're like, "Arey, ab bhi ho raha tha show, ab bhi ho raha tha show."
One of the challenges is that because of the type of power that politicians have on the machinery, these illegal structures, and let's face it, Mumbai has too many of them. They have illegal buildings with sustained, with protection. Do you think the powers that politicians have for land and this sort of management needs to be truncated?
Tell you one thing. One of the things that has to come into our system is check and balance, right? And I'm not talking of even legality, illegality or whatever, but the kind of decisions one you can, take. The point is this, that the intention of the decision, the result of the decision, and whether it's in good faith or not, or it's only for elections, that also really matters, right? And you have to put that into brackets, whether it's infrastructure based, whether it's humanity based or humane based. Third one is whether it's election based. And these are things that really need to sort of come into the picture.
In Maharashtra, who do you think is like the one standout politician in that regard?
Look, without a bias, I'll say Mafia.
Outside of you, your father and Shiv Sena.
Oh God.
It's a tough one, but I think one of the people who's seen it all is also Mr. Pawar. I think if you see his political career all through, 60, 65 years has been his political career. He's seen the ups and downs. But even today, he faces the media up front, and it's not that, oh, I don't need to face the media. Who's the media, right? And I am this one. He addresses them with equal respect, listens from them, takes criticism in his stride. I think that's very important.
Okay. Then tell me one thing that you really like about Mr. Pawar, Sharad Pawar, Devendra Fadnavis, Mr. Modi, and the Congress, or Ajit Pawar. What would you say?
I think we haven't gone into the rapid fire round officially. So you're firing at me without the rapid fire round.
Out of the blue, what do you think? Anything you have to learn from that?
Look, I think
Aditya, I wish I had that skill.
No, I'll tell you what. As a young politician, when I look at these leaders, and see, when you look at them, they of course at a certain point in their life and career, which a lot of us as a billion people, and when I say a billion people, you almost have 90% of us as Indians knowing what politics is and where it is going, right? For those who have been able to sit in those seats of power, and for those who have been able to sustain their careers for such a long time, I think a couple of things that we all need to learn from them, even as entrepreneurs or business people or whatever aspiring politicians, is picking up the pulse of the people. It may not sound to be the most popular thing on TV, but saying the things that is whispered in the people and saying it from the stage and making it the pulse of that election is something to learn from them. Two, the way they pitch that back to the people. It's not something that I've invented or they have invented, right? It's something that I've heard from the people. That's something that's being echoed inside that constituency. But to say it back to them as something refreshing is something you can learn from them. Three, some politicians have a beautiful knack of giving a spin to things or marketing things. I think that is something also you need to learn.
Who's the one guy you think was? I'm assuming you mean it as a compliment, right?
I mean, it is a compliment. Yeah.
Who would be the one or two? Who do you think are the one or two guys who really know the marketing game properly, the pulse properly, in your view?
Most of them who've been in the seat today. Because see, without knowing the pulse, apart from the vote chori aspect of it, if you don't take the vote chori aspect of it, you would see a lot more faces different in seats today than you see in government today. But otherwise, yeah.
Who has the best pulse of the people according to you?
I think, look, frankly, if you see today, it's very difficult to say because what we are showing, what we have seen on a large scale is fraudulent voting patterns, right? And that cannot tell you the pulse of the people because people have voted differently, but there are bogus voters who have voted differently. Having said that, I think people who have sustained their careers know the pulse of the people.
Okay, one thing back.
See, I'm not giving you any masala on your...
That's fine, that's fine. See, Mumbai, let's come to Mumbai. The Mumbai has seen a downward slide.
It comes from a real estate space, right? And this masala is the amenity is shown.
The sample flat, the swimming pool.
I'm not giving you all of that.
Fair enough. Regarding Mumbai's decline in a way, we have seen the decline of Mumbai. Till 1990s, Mumbai was India and business meant Mumbai. Since then, we've seen the rise of Bangalore, Gurgaon, contributed to a large extent because of high cost of living of Mumbai. Do you think this will continue?
No, see, I wouldn't exactly call it a decline of Mumbai. Yes, the decline has happened. Our infrastructure has definitely collapsed in the last 2 years. And without a doubt, it has collapsed. You and I feel the collapse, right? You have stupid policies like those water mist guns going in the middle of the road where they're putting it out or using drinking water for that. That's all stupidity that's come into administration from some of the guys who ran away from us. Keeping that aside, you still have an attraction for the city of Mumbai in the eyes of every common Indian and a lot of business people. There have been government policies that have sustained Mumbai. Mumbai has always been built on public-private partnership, right? So you have something like the RCF coming here. You have historically a lot of these companies coming in, starting off from Mumbai. You also have something like NMACC happening in Mumbai. You have some of the best schools in Mumbai, some of the best educational institutes in and around Mumbai, MMR region. Even today, something like a Gallery Lafayette has chosen to come to Mumbai. The British Prime Minister with the biggest delegation of business, even as much as hopeless the government is, chose to come to Mumbai and Mumbai only. What has happened is, what has contributed to what we think is a decline is the union government rather, forcing things to go to other cities. Air India headquarters, move it away. RBI headquarters, move it away. Cement plant, move it away. Your Olympics going into another city. Commonwealth going to another city.
But then can Mumbai host such things?
These were
Olympics, Commonwealths and all?
See, these were things coming naturally to Mumbai as a city. And any other city around the world, no city is going to be absolutely planned and spick and span as they show in movies and cartoons and whatever. It's always going to be a chaotic city, a bustling city, a melting pot city is a city. It's always been going to be chaotic. You go to any city in the world, you ask any citizen, do you love your city? Yes. Do you love your administration? No. You go to France, they say, come si, come sa. You go to London, they say, no, they're digging up roads every now and then. They're shutting down roads here and there. The complaint, and I understand as a citizen, we're always not going to like, the administration is not going to be 100% up to our understanding or expectation. But the things we could have pulled naturally. For example, I keep saying this of Gift City. Look at the Diamond Bourse here.
doing very well. Why did you have to shift fund to Surat all the way and force all of these guys to buy spaces there? Is it even working as efficiently as the one in Mumbai?
With all due regard,
It's struggling.
struggling, right? Gift City.
In Gujarat had to allow alcohol as an incentive in a dry state to attract investors, then still is not really booming as it could have in Mumbai. My point is this, that allow investors to choose their destination in our country. And today, anyone today wanting a job, that little, dream, the Mumbai dream still exists. You just have to blow the ash that settled on it because of politicians and because of, forcefully taking things out. Let Mumbaikars run their own city and love their own city. It'll happen again.
How much of Mumbai's problems are because of the politician, bureaucrat, or the people? In your view, who would you blame?
I think it's about the union government not really favoring us. As earlier, we didn't have favors from them, but we didn't even have interferences in our system. That has been a major issue in the past decade. Two, like I said, even in the state government today, nobody really loves the city. And that's the problem. My father was probably the first chief minister from Mumbai, loving Mumbai as the chief minister of Maharashtra and also giving equally to every equal district.
But then, one of the problems, and most youngsters tell me when I meet them, is that they just find that Mumbai is not value for money for a person who's coming for a job. The salary may be on par with Bangalore, Gurgaon, but the cost of living is so much high that they feel that it's a real struggle.
Exactly, but that will now, as you go forward, you see a lot of redevelopment schemes happening. If you see, Mumbai is in a churn today, right? And I'm not speaking from the government intervention perspective. That, of course, I believe that the government should also create affordable houses for people who want to come on rent or want to buy, young couples who want to come and stay here and things like that. That is one. Some of the things that the government can intervene on directly, though, if I don't speak of housing, is public transport. A good quality public transport, something like the BST, along with the metro lines, along with the railways, along with everything, is needed. Pedestrianization, good footpaths are needed. The project, what I was trying to look into and what we were, sort of dabbling around with is quality of schools, right to quality education. We have right to education in our country. We need right to quality of education and equality of education, right? So for example, when you bring BMC schools up to a level of a private school, you bring IB, IGCSE, CBSE and ICSE into BMC schools. You allow, something like co-curricular activities and extracurricular activities, for example, sports or astronomy classes into BMC schools. That's when you actually bring the quality of municipal schools that are free of cost to a private school, and you can have these people or younger couples or even Mumbaikars wanting to send their kids to BMC schools. That is something you can intervene into. Healthcare. Public healthcare has to be strong, has to be good. That can be something that can be looked into. So you work on the peripherals of it and you make a city more affordable by extending the free services or the subsidized services into a good quality bracket where more and more people want to come there.
See, one of the problems I've seen, not just now, but even for the last 10 years at least, is that we keep giving out so much space for housing. But we invest very little in playgrounds, gardens and all.
And most of our playgrounds, traditionally, because of the fear of being encroached, were behind walls. One of the projects I had taken up was to open up the playgrounds. You obviously cannot break, the boundaries. You can create grills where you can see through, like the racecourse project. If you see, we broke the walls. We broke the walls of many playgrounds and gardens across, and we created grills so that you can see through, you can pass through. Likewise, the Malabar Hill treetop walkway was done during our time. The Valkeshwar and the Dadar viewing deck was done during our time. Mahim Fort redevelopment, we removed 377 hutments from there, gave them formal homes in MMRDA schemes, and we were doing up the Mahim Fort. Urban spaces, we were doing a democracy square, we were doing a constitution square. Open spaces was something we were looking at. Plazas in Mumbai. Even the Kala Ghoda area. Now, one of the things that shut down now is, if you remember, we were doing car-free Sundays. One road across every ward across Mumbai would be car-free from 7 to 11 on a Sunday so that people can come and just enjoy. That is being stopped. People are being shooed away from Marine Drive and Worli Seafares and Juhu Beach at 12 o'clock at night by the cops. Why? It's a safe space. It's an open space. Let people enjoy. People, let them breathe there.
Do you think we actually need policy now to protect our whatever limited open spaces?
We need Mumbaikars being in BMC, loving Mumbai and running Mumbai again. You and I can sit endlessly here, chat about Mumbai and where we've gone bad, where we can go better, or what is needed. But as long as, you don't have an elected BMC, you will have a repetition of the Gokhale Bridge encounter. You'll have a repetition of the road scam. You'll have a repetition of what's going on today.
But the thing is, those things have happened even when BMC had elected guys.
No. We've had all the corruption, if at all there was any, was pointed out and punished. Two, there were efforts being made to bring everything on a digital transparent thing. Even for your IOBCC, it's a digital platform altogether now. For most of your shop and establishment licenses, property taxes, bills, everything was coming on digital so that your human interface goes away. We were making strides towards getting rid of corruption, right? But my point is today, one is corruption, two is efficiency, and three is actually love for the city. All of it today is going haywire.
Since you mentioned corruption, this I have to say that if I talk to 100 or 100 builders, they tell me that corruption has now gone through the roof. Okay. There was, I think 10 or 11 years back, there was an article in Times of India where a reporter mentioned that builders go to BMC asking for bribes to be slashed. So they're assuming bribes, so they nahi hai. Okay.
Post which we went towards digitization.
Okay.
So that, you move away from the whole bribe culture.
But then the bribes are still there, and bribes are there in abundance.
The point is this, that if someone's caught with the bribe, or if someone's caught as corrupt politician, where are they going today? Not the jail. They're going to the BJP and becoming ministers. Stop that culture, your bribes will stop. Throw them to the jails. Look at the National Highway Authority of India, look at the Mumbai-Goa highway, look at the Mumbai-Nashik highway, look at the Mumbai-Ahmedabad highway. You see bribes all potholed across the roads. Brilliant marketing machinery. But if you see most of the roads that they've made today, especially in Maharashtra at least I can say, it's been terrible.
Agreed, because I think Mumbai-Ahmedabad, complete disaster. Mumbai-Goa, complete disaster.
And look at the way they market the minister and market the ministry.
But I think right now, I think it's fair to say that that bubble has burst.
Yeah, they probably need ethanol in the roads right now.
But tell me, what do you think is happening in this entire ethanol saga? What's really going on?
One thing is for sure that it's not gone down well with the people, and people who are looking in their own engines get spoiled. Car companies are saying it's not great for us. There are people who are saying it's not great for us. Why is it being forced? And again, where is the check and balance on that decision?
So
That is my point.
why is it happening? Why? What do you think is the hidden game in this?
What I see on social media is one company belonging to a relative of the minister has profited exponentially.
I basically, in fact, felt that Mr. Gadkari, I must concede at one point I was a big admirer because of what happened in Mumbai-Pune Expressway and water.
But today, if you see roads across Maharashtra, right, all these big highways, Mumbai-Goa has been going on for 11 years. Going on and on and on. Two contractors changed. Who are these contractors? Whose friends are they? Why are we not getting great roads is something for finally the ministry to answer.
Can Mumbai ever get roads of respectable quality? I don't know if you have seen the video of the Taliban in Afghanistan. The roads look pretty smooth. Yes. The Kabul roads, Afghanistan roads look better.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a simple example of Marine Drive again. And I'll give you a couple of examples because during our time, we were going through a phase process of remaking roads. Back then, you had almost about 1920 kilometers of roads across Mumbai that belonged to the entire city. Now they've expanded much more. They've gone rapidly higher. About 1400 kilometers belong to the BMC back then. 576 kilometers were concretized by the end of 2022. Not all roads should be concretized is my first perspective. Two, we need to relook at the authority or the jurisdiction of the roads and which agency runs that. I am saying let the BMC take over all the roads. And let the BMC, at least when we get to power, put out a schedule of which road will be made when. Let the traffic police concur with it. Three, let's get urban planners, which we were doing during our time. I've worked with agencies like the WRI, C40, Bloomberg, RMI, even our local architecture colleges and urban planners, get them on board. Figure out what lies below it. Because see, one of the things we were doing during our time was a digital twin of Mumbai city. So we were not just doing digitization and chatbot for Mumbai city through the BMC. We were doing a digital twin of Mumbai city so that you know what's lying below your roads and footpaths. What utilities lie, what amenities lie, what is the exact dimension of this construction that's happening here. You know what is legal, you know what is illegal. So you need a digital twin, right? You need to put out a schedule of what is going to be concrete, what is going to be asphalt, in what time. And I'll tell you on this show right now, that if tomorrow any leader tells you within 1 year, मैं आपको सब road साफ करके दूंगा, pothole free करके दूंगा, he's lying. No road in the world.
Eknath Shinde said that.
Yeah,
Plastic.
Proved him wrong. It's been 2.5 years since he said that. His pockets potholes have gone away, not our roads.
So Is Aditya Thackeray telling me that Mumbai can never have pothole-free roads?
Seeing this, that it is a process that administrators and administrations and politicians shouldn't lie about. It is a process that should be out in a very transparent way. There should be a process where the BMC gets in charge of all the roads, puts out the schedule of what are good roads, what are bad roads, or let people decide. Also let elected corporators decide. And let's have work started over that. Yes, it is going to be a 3 or 4 year process. So I think we need to have now, we've come into an age and time where we need to think about a comprehensive plan, not like what MMRD says, comprehensive mobility plan for, 2047. वो सब 20 साल बाद कौन देखने वाला है? अभी का बोलो, तब आप 20 साल बाद पहुंचोगे.
Okay, since you said MMRD, the hot topic right now is one infrastructure project that I don't think is supported by anybody. Even the infrastructure enthusiasts don't like it. PodTaxi.
Yes.
I think this idea was there during your time also,
I
right?
tell you what, the root of this idea was I had introduced the pod taxis to Fiknath Minde in 2018, 2019 or something. Back then for MMR region, he was the Guardian Minister of Thane district. We got to government and then obviously we realized that the pod taxi is not something which is viable because you do a deeper study of things. See, sometimes you see things around on the internet, you see things around and you say, okay, this is quite cool, fascinating, but obviously you have to do a proper study feasibility report. On doing that, you realize that it's going to be a pod that's going to carry 6 to 7 people on concrete pillars. As much as, you have concrete pillars all around BKC and you have more concretization happening, you don't need these additional things to cover your heads on the road with. So we dropped the idea. Later on, obviously, he became chief minister by legal means. He's got this fixation saying, pods, cost escalation, paisa, let's do it. It's something which is ridiculous for our city. My firm belief today, Vishal, after talking to urban planners, experts, even common people across, is your last mile connectivity, right? Now, barring trains, metros and BST buses, our last mile should be walkable. You don't need a wheel for the last mile. And if you need a wheel or a pod or something like that for a last mile, your city is a disaster. 2, things like the Nariman Point and Cuff Parade connector should have been completed by now. We had started off that. Worli Shuri connector in our time, from 2021 to 2022 when the government was toppled, 48% complete, now 60% complete. Right? So these are some of the things that we need to look into when we're speaking of infrastructure. We're looking at only cost escalations. And my biggest regret in the city is, in 2015, the then Chief Minister, Mr. Fadnavis, split the coastal road into 2. One was northbound, which is done by the state government, MSRDC, southbound, which is done by the BMC, by us. We first proposed the coastal road from Nariman Point to Dahisar in 2013. That was my father proposing it. We started chasing all the permissions and all, got the permission 2017, late 18, we started off work, should have been complete by December 2023, they delayed it, no problem. But today, where is the northbound coastal road? It's been 10 years. What is the progress? 3 contractors have changed. Costs have escalated, just like the Mumbai-Pune missing link road, that thing near Lonavala. 10 years, costs have escalated. Contractors changed. Paisa kamaya. Kaam kahan hua hai?
Since you said about PodTaxi and BKC, there's this, I think it's widely known, there's an auto rickshaw mafia that runs BKC. Because of which, and I sometimes find it unbelievable that 3 lakh office goers are almost kept hostage by 200-300 auto rickshaws. Why is not able to get TM? I can't believe it's continuing.
No, the thing is this, right? For example, now Mumbai, if you see, we have people who are walking, we have people who are using bicycles, private cars, carpooling, Ola, Uber, private taxis, Kali Pili, then you have rickshaws, you also have buses that are now sort of moving away because this government wants to bring in City Flow and other private buses to earn more. You have bike taxis coming in, which is going to be absolute chaotic. And then you, like you said, you have the rickshaws. Now, often you get complaints of rickshaws and taxis, sometimes refusing the fares to you or the routes to you. Again, this needs a mechanism which is transparent because we have complained about that very often. Even as legislators, now in my constituency, I don't have auto rickshaws, but here where I live, you have auto rickshaws. You keep complaining about them. Some are very good. Some of them are like the good Samaritans who help. And some of them always will be the bad apples. But you need the law and order to come down swiftly on them and hard on them. But not just the auto rickshaw mafia. I'm talking of the rest of the traffic, Vishal.
But BKC, who's protecting them? I don't know.
Tell me something. Overall across Mumbai, if you see over the last 10 years, the traffic has increased. Agreed. People have bought more cars, whatever. People have come into our city, whatever. Where have our traffic rules gone?
You have people driving on the wrong way on Marine Drive and Worli Seaface, forget the inner roads. Earlier no entry mein koi gussa deta tha, traffic police hai ki nahi. Today no one's scared of the law.
Wrong side driving did not exist till I think 10 years back.
Known for our, so why is the law not being implemented for the good people who are driving?
So why is that happening?
I have raised this multiple times. I got an answer from the transport minister in the assembly saying now we are doing AI and we will track drunk drivers and drug drivers. I'm like, I'm not even speaking of that. That is, you have to punish them by law, drugged and drunk drivers, but catch the guys who are going in the wrong lane.
Because in one way, I think the pioneer of wrong side driving in Mumbai were the food delivery chains, Swiggy, Zomato. They were the ones who just drove anybody, and that created a culture which fostered.
Even for them, you need something for their well-being also, right? Because they are also chasing a timeline. I'm not justifying that they're going in the wrong lane. That's absolutely wrong. Need to be punished. Maybe the food can be given to someone else rather than the person who's called for it in 10 minutes. But both ways, is that kind of delivery really possible in a city? Two.
Bandakulla. It's a place I go very often.
No, I live here.
Yeah, of course.
I've seen the traffic, for me to go to MCA today, takes me about 40 minutes, which is supposed to be 5 minutes away.
Will you tame the auto rickshaw if you get back to power? I know that I'm asking this question. Somebody listening will
There are
say,
two ways.
why didn't Aditya do it before?
There are two ways to do this, right? One is, of course, you allow everyone to have a fair platform for taking all public transport means. One of the ways we were doing it was the BST buses. 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 15 rupees and 20 rupees as flat fares being the most affordable in the world. We were taking the BST to 10,000 electric buses by 2027. Double-decker buses would have been 900. All electric, green fuel, clean fuel, all of that, right? We were breaking the monopoly of one group over the other, and people would choose, okay, 5 rupees, I'm going 5 kilometers, 10 rupees, I'm going 10 rupees, kilometers, 20 rupees, I can go anywhere across Mumbai, and with 10,000 electric buses, headway time being much lesser, that would have broken the monopoly of this mafia. Two, you have so many times that I've been as a guardian minister back then also, and even now I call up the MMRD sometimes. Infrastructure work, your barricades are fallen over, your stones are left, right, center, some debris is lying somewhere, and that just drops the entire tempo of the highway.
These are things, it may sound silly as they way for administrators, but these are things that are not supposed to happen in a city like Mumbai where you have this traffic. No,
Small things that can make a big difference.
yeah, look at what's happening near our airport, those 2 flyovers.
People are confused whether I go on this one or that one. Someone's going cross, the highway traffic stops. Coming from here, the BKC connector goes to Western Express Highway. You've got a small barricade there. Someone opens it. Traffic is a backup till C-Link. These are things that are not supposed to happen by law. So, two, market mechanisms and administration.
Bandakulla complex. That's the CBD of India.
Yeah.
You said before that instead of gift going over there, it should have come here.
Yep.
Are you willing to commit that you will smash the auto rickshaw mafia if you get back into the hot seat?
Be it cabs, be it taxis, be it rickshaws, be it whatever, right? Legally shouldn't exist. They have no place in a city. You have to smash them. There are some good Samaritans, you have to support them. We have to. And by law, you see, I'll tell you, my mechanism, if I come back to the BMC, in which hopefully we should as party, should be to focus on the BST, because that is in our hands as public transport. Then you don't need to go begging to anyone else saying, mujhe, and I don't say it in a wrong way, but like we literally are treated as that, as citizens today. Look at the BST lines. The government sees us as someone who's doing favors unto us, and we are like going with them with begging bowls saying, oh, give me water, give me pollution-free city, give me better roads. Why? The government's duty is to serve us. So, like you said, BKC or be it any other place, no lobby or mafia should exist in any sector, any form.
One thing in 2014 that really attracted the middle class of India and even Mumbai. Achhe din, but more importantly than that, na khaunga, na khane dunga.
सब खाने वाले अभी बीजेपी में हैं और अभी जेलूसिल पी के ठीक हो गए.
Right now, before this election, BMC, is Aditya Thackeray brave enough to make that same statement?
I am. Let the BJP also commit, but we've stuck to that, and which is why we are sitting in opposition today.
But come on, Aditya, I think if somebody sees any of the scandals, it's across parties, including Shiv Sena.
So tell me something.
No, I'll tell you what. I'll just give you a differentiation. One, whenever we were in the 2.5 years that we were in government, or even in the BMC of 25 years, any allegation made, forget being proved also, any allegation made, And this has happened since my grandfather's time also, from 95 to 99 as government, and later on throughout the BMC and in our time also. Any allegation made, be it financial or social, whatever, we have made that particular person resign, step aside from a position of influence and face inquiry free and fair. Some of those who could have potentially gone to jail, where did they go? They ran to the BJP and they've become chief ministers and ministers. And my problem is this, that if you make an allegation today, as the BJP or any other party, stick to that, follow it up. And if it is true, throw the person in jail. If it is not, let him resume or let her resume her daily life. And this is a commitment we have made and stuck to, which is why we are in the opposition. Had we had coffers like them, we would have bought these MLAs on different packages and been in government, or we would have been cozy with the government today. But there are principles that that are not negotiable for us. There are principles that we stick to and we will stick to.
So you'll be able to say, na khaunga, na khane dunga.
Absolutely. Or kabhi khaya nahi. But my point is this, the BJP, and see, one of the things that you spoke about admiring people, right? More than the BJP's leaders, I admired the BJP's karyakartas because they stuck to an ideology and they worked to it for 25 years. They've gone left, right, center. They've forgotten about their families. I know people who've given up on their families and gone and, done prachar for the BJP. Where are those people today? They are the ones who fought against corruption. They are the ones who fought against, corrupt people and leaders who now today the BJP is inducted in their own party and made ministers and are making them sit on the top of their heads. So my point is this, like for example, I'll give you another example. Na khane dunga, na khata hu, that is one thing and that we follow. The other thing today which I see as most embarrassing, right, is this whole hoarding and banners culture which has popped up across our country and across the city. It's very embarrassing to see banners. It makes a city filthy, makes a city dirty. But within politicians and within politics, it's a rat race. Because you put, I have to put. Because I put 2, you have to put 3. Because you put 3, he has to put 5. I had written to the chief minister last year, right after election, saying, sir, elections are over. All the chaos of politics is over. Let's do one thing. You, as the head of the largest political party in the world and the chief minister of the state, publicly say that I will not put or not let the BJP put a single banner or hoarding across Maharashtra. You say that and you stick to it. I, as another political party, will not just match a step, I'll go one step ahead of you. I am willing to commit to that.
So why isn't this happening right now?
Because I'm totally responsible.
Right now, so just when I came over here, right outside your place, there are big banners.
No, Vishal, see, I mean, at least for my birthday, I say go and put banners for me, right? And
Do the worker listen, but
no, for them, what is important is, if I am not seen today in an area and someone else's banners up, people also may have a feeling that, oh, ye party ki yahan bahut chalti hai. And that is the general perception in largely the electorate across India. Like I'm saying, let's commit as all major political parties, let's not put banners at all.
you'll be okay with that.
Fine, what's kati rehta? It's embarrassing to see these banners. It's you start feeling uneasy to see so many banners on the road and it's dirty, it's filthy. But it's a rat race. It's let the chief minister commit, I'm willing to match a step.
It's like the TRP battle for media platforms and all.
Me.
Okay. What's the one thing about Mumbai that embarrasses you the most? Hand on heart.
Absence of an elected government right now. We are the most important, one of the most important cities in India. We are one of the most important we are the financial capital of India. People look up to us as a city. People come to see the disaster control room that we've made. People come to see the rainwater holding tanks we've made. Whatever, right? You have different municipal corporations coming here and seeing as delegations. And we don't have an elected government for 3 years.
Suppose I'd asked this question to you 3 years back. What is the thing that embarrasses you the most? Besides the absence of elected body, which I obviously agree should have been sorted by now.
Confusion in the jurisdictions of town planning agencies. For example, what has the MMRD got to do in a city like Mumbai? It's an MMR region. Go out to the MMR region and work. Why what happens, Vishal, is today the MHADA or SRA or MMRD or PWD or anyone who's got a town planning agency authority or Aviation Authority of India or even the railways, they construct something not conforming to the rules and regulations of our city, and then they expect the municipal corporation to supply with electricity and water and clean up the streets. Right? And they're earning billions out of it. Why aren't you giving it back to my city? If you are, your agency, you do the work that's been assigned to you. MHADA should be building homes, SRA should be doing SRA stuff, MMRD should be doing stuff in MMR.
But then would you agree that the MORD is responsible for Bandra Kurla complex and they've actually done a good job?
Same Bandra Kurla complex now is looking beautiful, but look at the way it was designed originally, 30-40 years ago. You had one entry point and one exit point which we are facing the brunt today. what is it taking you to come in and go out? A whole set of mangroves was destroyed, that is one thing. But when BKC was made, Kurla, Chandivali, Bandra East, where we are staying, started getting flooded because they, without planning, built it. Now it's seeming it to be as beautiful as it is, but it could have been the BMC doing it. It could have been anyone doing it.
And I agree, full credit for building what they had. But my point is at least being sync with the town planning agency.
Okay. Between Mumbai, Thane, Navi Mumbai, you roam around everywhere given the type of job you have. Which is among the three? Which one are you most optimistic about going forward?
I think all three, because see, the region that we are in, right, we can give strength to each other. We have traditionally given strength to each other. Like I said, when we speak about international events like, say, right from Olympics to Commonwealth Games to whatever, these three cities and the MMR region can host some of the best events around the world, given the strength. And when I've seen, the biggest time was COVID. When we have to support, we stand in support, and the whole state comes.
Between the three, anyone that you see, like Mumbai seems to be more saturated. There's little upside in terms of its
I still call it saturated because now
The whole redevelopment cycle that we've gone into, you'll see potential unlocking in Mumbai, you'll see potential unlocking in Thane, Navi Mumbai, see across everywhere.
So you would still say,
further from potential in Nashik, Sambhajinagar, Kolhapur, Nagpur, Solapur, all of this will unlock because we are a state that will grow despite the kind of government that we have.
so Nasik you'd be optimistic on. It's one of my favorite cities as well.
I love it. It's a very beautiful city. It's always been one of my favorite cities, Nashik and Kolhapur. Why my only fear is again, with the kind of politics that we see today, I don't want it to be usurped by land sharks and just haphazardly done out.
Because Nasik is one of those cities which people have been saying for the longest time could be the next Pune.
Yeah, and no, you see also the peri-urban areas around Nasik. It's some of the most beautiful areas across Maharashtra.
Why do Maharashtra politicians not like Pune? Like Pune is one of those cities that actually should have been above Bangalore in my view. Means Bangalore is a great city, it's done well.
Pune and of course Hinjawadi, if you see, grew because of the the IT sector. It has connected well because of Mumbai-Pune Expressway also. Pune has its own strengths, right? It's always been the educational hub of Maharashtra, the cultural hub of Maharashtra. You see a lot of artists still living there, still coming out from Pune.
A lot of good literature coming out. And even today you see a lot of good housing societies being developed across Pune. So I think it has a great potential.
But then why does government ignore Pune?
The problem now the Pune faces is again the haphazard planning of the metro lines. They've started flooding the city left, right, center within 15 minutes of the first rains to the riverfront development project. It's probably the only project in the world where the river is being narrowed and shallowed. Any common sense project around the world for a river widens and deepens the river. This is going the other way, and it's going to take down Pune in a very devastating way. It's already started. That's a bigger fear. It's going against all the EC permissions that they've got.
Because Pune is one of those cities I've been going for the longest time, and every time I go there, I feel more and more depressed about its future. It's almost like stuck in time. It gives me like a Calcutta feel.
No, I think
You have a huge potential. Then you see a lot of entrepreneurial young people there who are fire in the belly.
Punekars believe that they get a raw deal because all politicians focus on Mumbai, and because of that, Pune gets ignored.
Hey, that is always going to be one of the fights across all districts of Maharashtra, because every district will feel that the other district is getting better. But I think, like I said, it's what is important again. Like during our time, Vedanta Foxconn would have gone to Talegaon near Pune. You would have a lot of other EV sector cars going, EV sector factories going to Pune. So if politicians don't direct investment coming in saying come to my district or go to that district, you will have all states developing fairly.
How much of an issue do you think will be there for investment coming into Mumbai because of these language wars that we are seeing? Do you think the big impact?
See, language wars is not really a thing. One of the core issue of language war is only one thing, that you respect my language, I respect your language, right? Two, why we stepped out on the streets was you had 3 languages being imposed on children in the first standard. Whereas today, the BMC has 8 mediums of learning, different languages. No one has a problem. You and I speak English, Hindi, different languages. The only thing is, whichever city in the world you go to, you don't respect their culture, you don't respect their language.
But like the violence that's happening, that's embarrassing, right?
See, the violence is both ways, right? And I'm not justifying anything, but when you have ghettoization of a housing society where you say, oh, you eat chicken and mutton and you won't be able to step into my society, you will have friction. Which then turns out to be political and social. But that friction is natural around the world where ghettoization happens.
One major ghettoization that we see in Mumbai, but outside also, is among Muslims. And in that, the one uncomfortable truth is that they find it really tough to get homes in Mumbai. can laws solve for this issue that, people say, I don't want a Muslim in my building, or this has to play out on its own?
This is very, very unfortunate. And this is also true in a lot of housing societies, right? But I see a lot of redevelopment schemes happening now where you have, like, for example, I can say of Worli, I can say in Dharavi, where Dharavi, they tried to break down a Muslim, I think one of the offices in a mosque to show that, okay, we can create riots here by this, by the government, and then break the people of Dharavi. You had Hindus and Christians standing for Muslims there, saying, you go over us and then you go and demolish this. So that strength is also there.
But
So you always have anomalies where you'll have housing societies and see, it's coming onto Muslims today, it will come onto someone else tomorrow, right? And these anomalies will always exist. I think tackling that with law is very important.
because can laws solve such an issue? I don't blame landlords. It's a complex issue.
It's a social fabric thing, right? And it takes natural cause. But like I said, there are also examples in Mumbai where be it Hindus, be it Christians, be it Muslims, be it Buddhists have stood for each other, be it Jains, they stood for each other.
So you would be optimistic about this going on?
I'm optimistic about Mumbai.
Pollution, you brought that topic up. I'm sure in the next month we'll see a record pollution. It'll become hazy. Who's to blame here? Is the builder to blame here, or is the government that is doing the infrastructure projects, or the government that actually does poor projects and then digs it up again to fix it?
You'll have to go through it in multiple ways, right? One is, see, some of the things we did during our time, of course, not going into the national parks and the conservation reserves and whatever, but we had 3 Ramsar sites. Mangroves are very, very important. In 11 months, we could protect about 15,000 hectares of mangroves across 720 kilometers of Maharashtra's coastline. See, these are some carbon sinks or urban forests that you can create across cities, which will help you reduce pollution naturally. Open space protection, playground protection, very, very important. Having said that, you also have to accept the fact that development is happening, right? Be it a road, be it a footpath, be it a small building converting into a housing society. And while we are in that cycle of development, and a lot of us joke that development never ends in India, in some countries development has happened, we're always developing. But when that is happening, and especially a city like Mumbai, where you have buildings, say, that are 60 years old, 70 years old, going for redevelopment, you need to enforce the laws that already exist for pollution control in a better way and in a very stronger fashion to ensure that, you have your own time to work, the builders have the time to do their work, but you also have your neighbors who are not getting covered by dust.
So just enforce the laws. That's
Last question on this. 5 years from now or 10 years from now, where does Aditya see Mumbai?
Look, as of today, I'm going to see Mumbai as, if wherever we are as 5 years or 10 years down the road, what is very important is how we vote in Mumbai's elections. Do we vote for a party that is based in Mumbai and loves Mumbai and for people who love Mumbai, or do we vote for people who are taking orders from somewhere else and loving other cities or other states? That is one. But two, also as Mumbaikars, do we really come together, whoever's elected, who was not elected, to ask transparency, accountability for them, or do we let things just, go on as chalta hai? That's very important.
So basically, one have the
It
election.
depends in how we conduct our today, whether we ask the right questions, whether we seek answers from the government, whether you're a politician, a businessman, a common person, employed, unemployed, young, old, whatever, whether we have the eyes open and whether we can ask the right questions.
Because if it's a second question, from the limited sample of the people I talk to, I get the feel that I think nobody in Mumbai disagrees that there's massive corruption at this point of time. But their counterpoint is that, what? So is everybody else. BJP actually gets the job done.
Which job?
On large infrastructure projects which nobody else previously has done.
They create something with potholes. What is the quality? See, my firm belief after seeing 11 years of BJP government is the BJP is great as opposition. The great as campaigners and marketing. But in administration, zero. Because for every failure, you will have Nehru to blame or someone else to blame. And for everything done by everyone else, you have a BJP person going and cutting the ribbon.
But then would you at least give them credit that they've done things like the metro, the Trans Harbour, Coastal Road?
The Trans Harbour link, 82% work was completed in our time. It was supposed to be inaugurated by November 2023. The Wallishuri connector was supposed to be inaugurated by October 2023. The December 2023 deadline was for the Coastal Road. The northbound Coastal Road, which is with the government right now, has gone beyond its cost escalations and contractors. Missing link Pune, same. They're doing this the ring road of Pune. right? What is the cost escalation? 20,000 crores. Cost escalation. And they're not doing a favor. These are things that are supposed to be done. But if you're doing this, at least do it with the clean people on board. Why are you doing this with the corrupt people on board?
Are you surprised with the type of issues that have erupted in the Trans Harbour in terms of quality?
Yeah.
Are you surprised?
I mean, the other day I was driving on it and I see towards Mumbai, you see them resurfacing it again. I mean, the only bit that they've done of the Trans Harbour link of the road surface, that has only gone wrong.
So I'll tell you the view of many top contractors who privately tell me that, the jobs come to us, we try to do as well as possible. Invariably, there is a politician who will pressurize you to subcontract some part of the work to his friend or family and eventually you're boxed into a corner, you give it to that guy and that guy messes it up.
Which is...
But then this is across decades, not just now.
something.
Does this stick to na khata hu na khane deta hu? Does this stick to the allegations that the BJP has made while coming to power? Does this stick to all the allegations BJP has made on individuals who have been threatened either with ED, IT, CBI, otherwise come to our party? If you are the party with the difference, show me the difference. The difference is you are 2 shades darker than, what has been historically.
But then
Darker and not in...
the racist, of course.
Yeah.
But then this subcontracting menace, Aditya agrees that it's rampant, right?
See, even right now, tell me something. When the roads of Mumbai were given to these 5 big contractors, they were given to subcontractors who've not been able to work. And this is my objection. Rather have it a fair, square, clean, bid.
So basically, all in all, if I understand Aditya, is that I should be very pessimistic on Mumbai roads.
And I can assure you one thing, when we get back to the BMC, the scam that has been conducted now and the year before, we will unearth that. To whatever they've ruined in my city, we will get that repaired and bettered. 2, if we get additional responsibility of the other roads that we come to the BMC being an open, transparent, accountable body where it's not just the ruling party but also the opponent sitting there, you will have a free and fair working as was before, and you will have a better road system there.
So we'll have roads that are better than Afghanistan for sure, right? Because I was very impressed to see what Afghanistan is doing, and I felt ashamed that we can't do it.
Absolutely.
Because there was one report of a Pune contractor, a Parsi contractor who
Yes,
built
I
a
saw
road.
that as well, yeah.
So we need to...
He built a world-class road and he didn't get a contract.
Yeah. Which is... See, these are the kind of people who need to be brought back into this.
So why don't politicians get them if that's the case?
I'm here to bring them. We'll be back and we'll start doing that. And I can tell you of at least my time as minister and as elected representative, we've done that. I mean, for all our policies, if you go through, sifting through all my departments, right, you will see that we only went for the best and best of consultancy, cross-checked it with mechanisms of excellence, and we implemented that.
Aditya, before the show, we were talking about one company that possibly could have had its base in your constituency, Tesla. What's the thing that happened there?
See, I was...
Let's not be fascinated with one company. Of course, the company and what Elon is doing, keeping the politics aside, I think with the Starship, with Neuralink, with, all of it is phenomenal. And it's very exciting, living in times where you have such entrepreneurs who are thinking of that, right? I've always had this fascination, and back as a minister also, as someone speaking for environment with clean fuel and stuff like that. So I'd gone to even KPIT to see the hydrogen bus that they've developed. I wanted to bring that into BST fleet. But with Tesla also, we wanted to see it as an investment coming into Maharashtra. They would have come probably around second, if at all, they would have come into production, but that's way later, right? My understanding was plain and simple. Any company coming into our country, any foreign investment coming into a company will come as sales first, then go into production. And not getting into the details of it because I don't want, company action or government action on those individuals, but they would have come into Worli at that point in 2021. And with located a couple of places for the supercharger and all that. I'd said, you come to wherever in Mumbai or Pune or wherever. The point is start off from Maharashtra. 2021 was the time when they would have entered the market. I think the government of India intervened and said, no, first invest as manufacturing, then come as, sales, whatever. And I had written to the finance minister back then, the union finance minister, saying, whichever company like Tesla, any other company that is foreign-based who wants to come into India, especially from the green sector, from the EV sector, or hydrogen sector, let them come. Let them give them a little exemption or little leeway on the custom duties. But whatever has been accumulated as, whatever has been exempted or as the leeway, ensure that they invest that much amount 5 years or 10 years down the line. And back then would have been an exciting thing. Now it's here. It's great.
So instead of Worldly, what could have been? It went to BKC, right?
Which is fine, which is in my neighborhood. But my thing was, many more companies would have come back then, seeing the kind of market we have and the potential we have for EVs in India.
Have you ever driven on a Tesla?
I have, yes. Back then, they had come for a test drive, and I had driven 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning back then.
What do you think about it?
It's a beautiful car. I mean, most EVs today are so smooth, and the kind of technology they run on is phenomenal. Plus, I think they upgrade on, software. So it's, again, something which is phenomenal.
Yeah. What do you think about the Superman, Elon Musk?
Like I said, political views aside, because you may or may not agree with him, but the kind of entrepreneurship in terms of the finesse that comes with a Tesla or the Starship or the Neuralink. And I keep, so one of my things that I keep seeing is, the International Space Station that runs always, that is one. But with Elon Musk's adventures that you may call, the reusable rockets that he's creating, the re-entry that comes in right and settles on that ground, and now with the chopsticks, that I think is just phenomenal of where human engineering and, where we can go to. And this is where, I think we as Indians also have the biggest potential that can be unlocked in that sector, in the space sector.
On that note, Aditya, thank you for coming on. But before we end, there's a special rapid fire round for you, which will be like a 60-second.
Closer.
Is the hamper what? Some carpet area, what do you give?
Hamper Kabili, I'll have to ask Karan Johar for an interesting idea.
You can give TDR taken from Dharavi.
Aditya, 10 questions. Power or money?
Definitely administration.
But between power and money, which one?
Power, with the government having the money to implement it.
CM bungalow at Malabar Hill or Matoshri? Where would you like to stay?
Matoshri, but of course, running the government as efficiently as you can, be it through any, means.
If not Mumbai, which Indian city would Aditya like to stay in?
Haven't thought. But like I said, there are beautiful cities across Maharashtra. Some of them, of course, being like Pune, Kolhapur, Nashik, all of these places. But, for me, what is important is, it's just like you get to do good work.
Besides your current home, which area would you like to stay in Mumbai?
No, Kalanagar is great for me.
You wouldn't like to shift to Malabar Hill, Carter Road?
We've got a billionaire's row in Worli in my constituency, but I'm happy in Kalanagar. It's an artist colony. Let me be amongst artists.
Okay.
Your favorite politician outside of somebody in your family and party?
Of course, you've got to have Lee Kuan Yew. You've got to have Tony Blair. And if you see their careers, of course, there's something impressive that they've built in their times. So, yeah.
Someone in India?
Tough to say. And would sort of be a little difficult. But I think one of the people of my age who's really positive and, comes across as someone who's really wanting to do stuff is Tejasvi Yadav. Hopefully he'll be the CM of BR very soon. But I've met him a couple of times, interacted with him, has a good vision and is a genuine person.
Okay.
Your favorite builder?
Oh God. City builder. City builder could be Lee Kuan Yew.
No, city builder, the real estate. Or instead of builder, developer.
Lee Kuan Yew. Why do you want to go into the sense? No, I'm looking at the grander sense.
Any particular building in
No.
that you look at it, Aditya says, that one caught my eye.
No, see, you will always have, so one of the things that we go by, and not really the builders, but the kind of facades, right? So I think one of the things is, of course, you look at old Mumbai, you have that little sandstone and Malabar stone, Mallard stone being used everywhere. That is really pretty. Then you have Art Deco on Marine Drive. You come towards, suburbs, you have the Greek style happening in Powai. So all of this. So without naming builders, I think what is important to facades.
Okay.
The best road in Mumbai according to you?
Connectivity wise, the coastal road that we've built. Sadly, the surface was under this government, it's gone topsy-turvy. But otherwise, this Marine Drive, we've got multiple roads.
The worst road in Mumbai?
The worst road in Mumbai are multiple roads currently, and even the good roads are collapsing now. You look at the Western Express Highway, it's completely gone bonkers. Historically also it's in bonkers, not that it was great with PWD and MMRDA, but it's still gone bad.
Okay. What's common between politicians and builders?
I think people.
Both have to face the people. And let me be very fair to even builders and politicians. You have to, for one, you treat it as a vote bank for most politicians. You treat the other as a society that comes together with GBR and all and gets you the votes. But two, I think both are public facing. Finally, you are answerable to both. And your work will be judged by people. So you move from one constituency another, someone will see your work where you've done good or bad.
The one city you are most optimistic about in India?
Mumbai always.
Outside of Mumbai?
You have MMR region, which is what I'm very optimistic about. Then, like I said, there's Nashik, which I'm very optimistic about. Pune and Kolhapur in Western Maharashtra. You have Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar in Marathwada. So these cities.
And last question, the one city you're most pessimistic about?
Never pessimistic. You wake me up from my sleep with the nightmare. Also, I won't really be pessimistic about.
Okay. On that one, Aditya, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Great fun.